Dan Schulman, Jessica Mendoza, Eduardo Perez sitting in for Aaron Boone, who of course was handling the Little League World Series for the Williamsport. The Nationals, in spite of all their injuries, are having a really strong season. The best offensive numbers overall in the league, Jess, on the year, and that's with at least half their team, it seems, on the DL right now.
Yeah, when you think about even their big dogs are out of the lineup. Jason Worth, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper. But when you look and circle probably the biggest player that's helped pick up that slack, it's been Daniel Murphy, and all season long. And this is what you've come to expect from Daniel Murphy, but boy, does he love to beat up on his ex-team. When you look at the 34 games against the Mets, almost a 400 batting average, 8 home runs, and his slugging percentage at .698. This guy's having an incredible season again, but when he plays his ex-team, the Mets, he just kicks it up a whole another notch.
And the pitching staff's had some injuries as well, bullpen and rotation. Let's focus on the rotation. If everybody's healthy, Eddie, heading into October, it's a formidable group.
It is a formidable group. Everybody talks about the Dodgers and how good they are. Well, this pitching staff can neutralize any offense in Major League Baseball. And you have to start with Max Scherzer, that's now coming back tomorrow to pitch with 24 starts on the season. Strasburg, 22 starts on the season. Gio Gonzalez is having a career year, 13-5. Runners in scoring position really struggling off him, being able to neutralize that ERA. But tonight's pitcher, Tanner Roark, he is the guy that needs to be able to extend that rotation, needs to throw better. He is doing that, hitting the corners a lot better, being able to maneuver, get a lot of ground balls. If he's able to continue with his success, this could be a formidable staff.
So even with all the injuries, the Nationals still having a great season. You can't say the same about the Mets. Expectations were high, decimated by injuries, not having a good year at all. Let's talk a little bit about the Mets as we send it down to Buster Olney.
Yeah, Dan, this has been a lost season for the Mets because of an incredible series of injuries that cost them all but 2 members of their everyday lineup and all but 1 of their starting pitchers, Jacob deGrom. So the focus now is on shaping pieces for 2018, whether that's first baseman Dom Smith, shortstop Ahmed Rosario, catcher Kevin Plawecki. Wait till next year is an historic baseball refrain. For the Mets, next year has already arrived. Dan?
Absolutely, Buster, and we'll see some of those young players in the lineup tonight in the second game of the day-night doubleheader. Coming up this weekend, we'll look at some of the more memorable nicknames from the first-ever Players Weekend. A deeper look into the Mets' future next year and beyond. We'll break down the Nationals' postseason hopes as well. Sunday Night Baseball is next.
Jason just got dumped, but he's comforting himself with seasoned beef, hearty potatoes, and warm nacho cheese sauce. Bye, Jenny. Taste the comfort with the new $1 Beefy Potato Rito, only at Taco Bell.
So you love your game? So does he. You say ain't nobody gonna work harder? He said the same thing. You get an hour of training in before the sun even comes up, plenty of early risers out there. You got the gear, they got the gear. You got a secret weapon? This dude doesn't need one. See, this isn't just a game of inches. This is a game of ounces. And the next ounce you give might just be the one the other guy doesn't. Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, and refuel.
You owned your car for 4 years. You named it Brad. You loved Brad. And then you totaled him. You two had been through everything together. 2 boyfriends, 3 jobs. You're like, nothing can replace Brad. Then Liberty Mutual calls, and you break into your happy dance.
If you sign up for Better Car Replacement, we'll pay for a car that's a model year newer with 15,000 fewer miles than your old one. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
We are all connected in the great circle of life.
The King has returned. And now you can bring home a piece of The Lion King with these limited edition film frames. Only on Blu-ray August 29th.
Allergies can hold you back. Break through indoor and outdoor allergies with Allegra 5-in-1 Relief. It works in 1 hour. Relief lasts 24 hours. And it's non-drowsy. Break through allergies with Allegra.
Apparently, the picture is worth 1,000 words. The award-winning 4K displays from Vizio.
You just made me do.
too.
You think it's just 5 guys between you and that rim? Try 500. Because for every guy you beat, there's 100 more out there with your same 5, working on your same moves, all trying to steal your glory. So if you want to be the one and only, and not just one of many, give that extra ounce. It might just be the one that all the others don't. Gatorade. Rehydrate.
During the Made to Move 2017 clearance event, you can do endless online research about the Escalade. Or you can come in and have it all for less than you might imagine. Don't wait. Our 2017 models will be moving fast. You can drive a car, or you can drive a Cadillac. Come in now before the end of our Made to Move 2017 clearance event and leave with the perfect Cadillac Escalade for you. Purchase with 0% APR for
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN is presented by Taco Bell's new $1 beefy potato-rito. You see some of the nicknames that players have chosen here on Players Weekend. It wraps up tonight after all teams for the last 3 days have put whatever they have wanted to on the back of their jersey. Some guys just sticking with their normal name, but most of them, just about everybody, Daniel Murphy included, going with some form of a nickname. Let's take a look now with the starting lineup for the Mets tonight, presented by Taco Bell.
And besides Jose Reyes leading off, you're looking at a very young lineup all throughout. Lagares, Nemo, Flores, Smith, Tejron, Plawicki, Cecchini. You can keep going all the way down the lineup. This is a lineup that doesn't have a lot of experience, so you have to attack the zone early against it.
On the mound for the Nationals tonight, right-hander Tanner Roark, who has not had as good a season by any stretch of the imagination as compared to last year. Had a sub-3 ERA in 2016, over 4.5 so far this year. Reyes leads it off for the Mets, and we're underway with a first pitch strike. Reyes at shortstop here in the nightcap of the doubleheader. The rookie Ahmed Rosario was at short in the first game, but Rosario not in the starting lineup here for game 2. A somewhat cool night. A little bit of fall is in the air
Feels
here
like
tonight
fall.
in Washington. Huh?
September getting here early.
Yeah. 69 degrees at game time. Going to cool off a little bit more. Mets have taken 2 of the first 3 in this series. Reyes pops one up foul, and no play is made as the catcher Wilmer Defoe was over there, got under it, and just whiffed on it.
And as he was putting on the brakes, you can see that he was on his heels. And you see him looking up right there. That ball gives you the illusion that it is bouncing in the air. Right there when he's putting on the brakes there, gets on his heels, gets in trouble. Tough to be able to pick up. You see that right foot, heel landing on the ground. It's supposed to be on the balls of your feet.
And the official score can give an error on that play, but elected not to. That's just no play. And now swing and a miss. Reyes is gone for the first out of the night.
And you're going to see Tanner Roark with his really 4-pitch repertoire of fastball, slider, curveball, and change. Here he elevates the 4-seamer, and you're going to see him do that. He gets 2 strikes, 1-2, 0-2. This is a pitch he likes to utilize up in the zone because he primarily will set up that pitch down in the zone with his 2-seamer, slider, and his changeup.
Number 2 hitter for the Mets tonight, center fielder Juan Lagares. A very good defensive outfielder, but a part-time player. When you start to think about the Mets outfield, some of them are gone, some of them are injured. There have been massive changes to this Mets roster in the last month or so. Of course, Granderson's been traded, Bruce has been traded, and just speaking about outfielders specifically, in the last few days, both Cespedes and Conforto going down with injuries. Conforto definitely season-ending. What looked like a nasty shoulder injury for the talented young outfielder, and for Cespedes, a hamstring injury that could cost him the rest of the season. So as Buster said, the future is now. Guys like Brandon Nimmo, that's him, Nims on deck. It's open audition time right now for the New York Mets.
Land of opportunity. If you're a young player, the period of play time.
Rosario again not in the lineup tonight. The young shortstop hit a big home run in the 8th inning of the opening game. That run stood up as the winner, and boy, were the Mets glad to get it because they were up 5-0 in the opener. The Nationals came back and tied it before Rosario's home run gave them the lead. 4th on the young career of Amed Rosario, and it was hit a long way.
Yeah, I was going to say that home run really showcased his power. It wasn't like he just pulled it and cranked it to left, dead center. Hard spot to hit it out in this park.
2-2, the count on Juan Lagares.
We're going to have some fun with the nicknames. I've been enjoying it. Of course, we're up high in the booth, and between the nicknames and being able to see the guys, it's been a fun time trying to figure out who's who.
We are up high. This is, I think, the highest vantage point of any broadcast booth in baseball.
There are lights that are actually underneath.
You're right. the lights are below us. You're right.
Clouds, too, I think.
A little bit high, and it's a full count.
See those lights to the right? They're below us.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat upcoming. Full count. And a chopper out to second. Murphy in time to get him 2 down. Max Scherzer is going to make a start for the Washington Nationals tomorrow against Miami. He's been dealing with a stiff neck, was on the DL. Some talk that he might come back and pitch one of these games today, but he'll be activated off the DL. Famous for a number of things, among them having one blue eye and one brown eye.
Isn't that his nickname for tonight, Blue Eye?
Blue Eye, I think one blue eye, I believe, is on the back of his jersey, but even more famous for being one of the game's very best starting pitchers. And we talked to Dusty Baker at length between the 2 games of the doubleheader today, and you can't help but ask him about all the injured players. And it got to the point where Dusty even, and you can't blame him at all, said, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. I forgot about that." They've got 12 different players on the DL right now, including Blue Eye. But Scherzer will come off the DL tomorrow, and if Scherzer comes back and Ryan Madson comes back, and boy, they may get Trey Turner back on Tuesday. There's a base hit up the middle for Brandon Nimmo. They may get Trey Turner Tuesday. They may get Jason Worth later in the week.
But that's also the luxury, that they have. So it's scary to think they're winning games and they still have so many guys coming back. But if you think about where the Dodgers and the Nationals are at right now with their leads, they have some room to allow these guys that, yes, are injured, but the length of those injuries has definitely become a little bit longer, I think, because they're able to.
So they can afford to be a little bit more conservative. The biggest question mark, I guess, from a health perspective for Dusty Baker and the Nationals is Wilmer Flores now steps in for the Mets. Third baseman and cleanup hitter in this game is Bryce Harper. The severe bone bruise, that ugly looking injury we saw a couple of weeks ago. He's walking around. He looks like he's improving, but he's not yet doing any baseball activities. They got about a month to play with. But boy, you'd love to, if you're a Nationals fan, you'd love to see him back with enough time to kind of get his timing down before the playoffs start.
Yeah, Dan, and that's absolutely essential. In talking with Nationals people, they say, look, it'll probably be a couple of weeks of exercises, and at that point, then he'll start to ramp up baseball activities, and the minor leagues may be over. Instructional league may not necessarily be the best option for him to get his timing. That's going to be the key. Can he get that timing in those last couple weeks of the regular season?
I think that's something a lot of people forget. No minor league games after Labor Day, really. Here is the injury suffered on the 12th of August. It had been raining before the game, long delay. Raining at this moment as well. Harper's foot skids off the base and he goes flying. And every time you watch it, you can't think, as severe as the injury was, it could have been a lot worse.
Oh, gosh. I mean, immediately, I remember seeing this and thinking, he's done for the season. I mean, just the way that his leg bent and the fact that it's a bone bruise, very lucky.
I don't know about you guys, but did your phone start blowing up as soon as that happened right there? Because everyone started texting. You could tell Twitter just started going crazy when Bryce Harper went down. And as ugly as it was, you expected the best, but knew that it could have been the worst. And it was great news for the Nationals, just knowing it was bone bruise.
And for baseball.
1-2 the count on Flores. Another check on Nimmo at first base. So you think of the kind of season the Nationals have had with Turner being out as long as he has. Remember Adam Eaton? I mean, you think all the way back to April, tore his ACL. Harper being out now. Worth's been on the shelf for a long time. Yet they are still comfortably in front of the National League East. 26 games over 500. They've had players like Michael A. Taylor, like Brian Goodwin, like Wilmer Defoe, guys, Adam Lind, who have maybe had bigger roles than were expected, and they have all stepped in really nicely to fill that void. Two-two, and a breaking ball sweeps way outside a full count. Don't know if Wilmer Flores ever thought he'd be a cleanup hitter for the New York Mets, but he is tonight. Again, with so many players having been traded and others on the shelf right now, it's a very different looking lineup for the Mets tonight. Runner will be on the move from first. Nimmo goes 3-2, fouled off.
Wilmer Flores ends up joining Darryl Strawberry also as under 25 years of age, 3 consecutive years of 15 or more home runs, already has 17 on the season.
Can play some first, second, and third, known more for his bat than his glove. And it is strike 3 called. Man, that appeared to be a good couple of inches off the outside corner. Flores arguing with home plate umpire Alan as he gets rung up on strikes to end the inning. 3-2 fastball away, and it did look to be away, but the Nationals get the call.
Touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. So good! So good!
Make your commute a little sweeter in the newly redesigned Hyundai Sonata, our best Sonata ever.
I love you, a bushel and a peck. You bet your birdie neck I do.
While other insurance companies just see a house, we see the home you've worked really hard for.
Megan's smile is getting a lot of attention. That's because she goes beyond brushing with ACT mouthwash. ACT freshens breath and strengthens enamel, protects teeth from harmful acids, and helps prevent cavities. Protect your smile every day. Go beyond brushing with ACT.
Andre is an air traffic controller. When it comes to planning the best routes, nobody does it better. He's also a championship-winning football coach. Look at that formation. But when it comes to mortgages, he's less confident. Fortunately for Andre, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's simple, so he can understand the details and be sure he's getting the right mortgage. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently.
Welcome back to the nation's capital. We go bottom one here between the Mets and the Nationals. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. A look at the Nationals lineup presented by Taco Bell.
Anthony Rendon has had an awesome season, especially when you think about a lot of the stars in and around him. 400 on-base per set, 6 in the NL. He's also leading in average and slugging, one of the tops in the league.
And again, a number of injured players for the Nationals. They're hoping to get healthier in the coming weeks. Seth Lugo is on the mound for the Mets tonight. Just came off the DL to make this start. Had missed the last couple of weeks. If you're wondering why his nickname is Puerto Rican, he has chosen that name. His paternal grandfather is from Puerto Rico, and in fact, he represented Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic. So, because one of his 4 grandparents is Puerto Rican, he refers to himself as Puerto Rican.
Clever.
And that's great because last year when he faced Yadier Molina in New York, Yadier Molina said, "This guy is filthy. Great curveball." Ends up that Yadier Molina then talks with Alex Cora, which was the general manager of the Puerto Rico national team, and Alex is like, "Do you know he qualifies to play for Team Puerto Rico?" And he says, "Get him now. He is on our team. Figure it out."
And And a swing and a miss at a fastball to get Alejandro De Aza for the first out.
This is what happens when you have that good curveball in the back of every hitter's mind. You might have to sit back a little bit, then all of a sudden this electric two-seam fastball running away from De Aza gets him on the outside corner, establishing that heater right away.
Number 2 hitter for the Nationals in this game, shortstop Wilmer Difo, who's been getting a lot of playing time in the absence of Trey Turner, one of the most electrifying young talents in the game. Turner suffering a wrist injury, a fractured wrist a couple of months ago when hit by a pitch, but Dusty Baker pleased to report that he could be back as soon as Tuesday for the Nationals, and he's the kind of guy, Jess and Eddie, if healthy, I mean, he can be a game changer when he gets on base.
It's the speed, it's the athleticism, it's the at-bats. I mean, honestly, the way he works counts, and after Adam Eaton went down, he filled that role so well at the top of the lineup, and the speed is what jumps off the page. Be able to make a difference. When you say game-changing, what he does on the base paths.
June the 29th, in a game against the Cubs, was hit on the wrist by a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, right wrist, from Pedro Strop. Stayed in the game for an inning, left the next inning. X-rays revealed a non-displaced fracture in his wrist. And again, he's on a rehab assignment, could be back in a couple of days. And this is one, and you're talking about a handful of guys, 3-4 guys maybe in baseball, who truly have the ability to steal 60-70 bases a season. He's in that group. Right?
Well, and especially in a day and age when guys aren't stealing bases like they used to, and it's just, gosh, it's dynamic, because he'll steal second, he'll steal third. I mean, and because of the threat, he affects the pitching, he affects the defense, he affects the pitch that a pitcher wants to throw or call, and that's what he does.
And back-to-back strikeouts for Lugo.
Guys, yesterday, Jason Worth, who's had his share of wrist injuries in his career, was asked by reporters what advice he would have for Trey Turner. And he started off with, well, Trey Turner doesn't listen to anybody, and he was kidding. But he was essentially referring to that great base-running arrogance that he had. And then he talked about the key for a player coming back from that sort of injury. The strength comes last, and that's the question. How quickly will Trey Turner get the strength back into that wrist?
All about getting healthy for October right now from the Nationals' perspective. Here's Daniel Murphy, the former Met, second year in Washington, and having another big season, although he's been just a little bit off, Dusty Baker says, Eddie, just a little out of whack recently.
He is. He's more of a legs type hitter. His legs have to be underneath him, healthy, 100%.
Now, Dusty said something interesting. He said he's in a deep crouch at the plate, and he crouches or squats a lot out at second, implying, I guess, that there's a lot of strain on his legs, that maybe his legs are a little
Well, it's when he starts in his stance. Guys will get into their legs when they swing, but he starts. He starts in that squat. And Dan, I mean, anyone who's done wall squats or anything for more than about 4 or 5 seconds in that position will know that if you have any kind of exhaustion, being tired, you see where he's at, and a lot of guys will get there, but he starts there as soon as he gets in that batter's box. He's in that low crouch position. Same when he's playing D. So you have to keep an eye on how healthy is his lower half because of the way he hits and plays D.
Last year, guys, I asked Dusty Baker who Daniel Murphy reminds him of as a hitter, and he surprised me. He said Reggie Jackson. But when you think about it, Reggie Jackson, of course, Dusty Baker played against, relied so much in that crouch, and he would uncoil out of that crouch to generate all of his power.
Guys, don't forget also he's had bad hips. He's got tight hips also, and that plays against him.
Boy, right now the Nationals are just doing anything they can just to fight some pitches off against Lugo. He's really dealing right now.
It's electric right now. That fastball is really working for him. Usually don't see guys in the first inning, especially coming off the disabled list, coming in being able to hit their target. He has been able to do so on the outside part.
And he strikes out the side. Gets De Aza, Difo, and Murphy. No score at the end of 1.
During the Made to Move 2017 clearance event, you can do endless online research about the Escalade. Or you can come in and have it all for less than you might imagine. Don't wait. Our 2017 models will be moving fast. You can drive a car, or you can drive a Cadillac. Come in now before the end of our Made to Move 2017 clearance event and leave with the perfect Cadillac Escalade for you. Purchase with 0% APR for
begins tomorrow on the networks of ESPN.
Alexa, reorder Purina Beyond cat food.
Order confirmed.
Alexa, show me my baby.
Okay.
There she is.
Call from the bedroom.
Everything okay down there?
This is a story about mail and packages, and it's also a story about people. And while we make more e-commerce deliveries to homes than anyone else in the country, we never forget that your business is our business. The United States Postal Service. Priority, you.
What a matchup for you tomorrow night on ESPN. Mr. Perez will be there as part of the broadcast crew. It's the Indians and the Yankees, and it's Corey Kluber on the mound for the Tribe, Luis Severino for the Yankees. An electric pitching matchup, two of the game's best this year. How about the Indians? They just swept the Kansas City Royals this weekend. Not only did they sweep them, guys, they shut them out 3 games in a row, 4-0, 4-0, and 12-0. The Indians have won 4 in a row right now, and they seem to be in control in the American League Central. They're 6.5 up on Minnesota right now.
They're starting to pitch well, obviously, with that. But most importantly, also, they're swinging the bat. And if you look at the bats, and if you look at Francisco Lindor at the top of the lineup, he has been a catalyst. 24 home runs so far in the season. Hit another one today. It's a team right now that is rolling on all cylinders and feeling good about themselves.
My only concern is Andrew Miller. I mean, after him coming out again and knowing that that's his plant foot that's been the injury and how much they need him and used him last year in the postseason, that's an injury I'm worried about. I don't know if he recovers from.
Kind of impossible, it seems, to talk about a team without talking about injuries. It's so pervasive in baseball right now. You know, Kipnis is out and Brantley is out and Chisenhall's been out. This is Dominic Smith, the rookie first baseman for the Mets, leading off the second. And as Buster talked about before the game, it's about the future. What do the Mets have now that they can count on going forward? This guy is a big key, but right now, and it's very, very early in his big league career, but is he a big question mark right now? He was called up August the 11th, and he's hitting 170 with 3 home runs. He was hitting over 300, showed a lot of power down at AAA. What have you guys seen from him so far with the bat at the big league level?
A lot of power going the other way, left center field. That's where his money is. But he has to be able to make the adjustment here at the higher level. Advanced scouting has really played against his game right now.
And that's it right there. And granted, Tanner Roark is a nasty curveball that he gives them, but it's been pitch selection. I mean, yeah, he can go the other way. He has a clear strength in his swing and certain pitches that he can hit, but it's been the breaking ball that obviously coming in the zone looks like a strike, and this is a nasty one. You see that top to bottom action just go below the bat of Dom Smith, but this has been for both him and Ahmed Rosario, them coming up, and one of the biggest adjustments a lot of young hitters have is being able to see big league pitching and lay out the pitches they can't hit.
So the learning curve continues for Dominic Smith.
And it's hard. It really is difficult because you want to prove that you belong. You've worked your way up through the minor league system. You know you've hit the entire way up. And you want to prove it all in one swing. You want to raise that average with one swing. You want to prove that you can hit that breaking ball. And you're falling in that big league trap.
Well, because you could hit it in AAA and AA when it honestly I mean, come on, Roark, that depth that he has, you're not seeing that in the minors as much as you can see it here in the bigs. So, you know, tip your hat to the pitchers they're facing. But then understanding maybe that's a pitch, you just don't swing it.
Roark now facing 28-year-old rookie Travis Tyrone. Made his big league debut yesterday, called out on strikes in his first at bat here tonight. Why are there so many rookies, so many new faces, so many changes? Well, look at this. About a month ago, maybe a little bit more than that, when baseball announced Players Weekend, they put out this kind of a shot for every team to get people familiar with the whole concept of the nicknames. The guys with the green X's have been traded since the picture was put out. The guys with the red X's are all on the DL. I mean, this Mets team is just a shell of what it was expected to be earlier in the season.
It's crazy when you look at it and you see the jerseys. I mean, and there's so many ways to do it. You could look at the opening day roster. There's only 2 guys from that original roster that are on this team that aren't injured. You look at the nicknames that were picked earlier in the season. You see the note there with DeGrom and Blevins, the only players on the Mets' 25-man active roster for every game.
That's insane.
Crazy.
Yep.
Guys, opening day, their 25-man roster, it was $120.8 million in the 25-man roster. Tonight, $50.3 million on that roster.
Some of it was traded to Milwaukee, some to Cleveland, some to the Dodgers. Yep.
Red Sox.
Red Sox as well.
And how well those trades have worked out for the teams that got those players. Granderson out in LA, he's had a heck of a power surge. Not that LA needs any more help.
And Jay Bruce has had some big hits for Cleveland. Neil Walker fitting in nicely in Milwaukee. And as Kevin Plawecki gets a piece, Lucas Duda, of course, is with Tampa Bay as well. That was the first trade. And we mentioned Boston. That's Addison Reed, who left the bullpen for the Mets and is now with the Boston Red Sox. So Terry Collins' team, very disappointing year. So many injuries. And again, the Nationals have had a ton as well. It's been a huge part of the story for both of these teams this year. But one team has displayed much better depth and has seemingly dealt with those injuries much better. On the appeal, no swing.
Dan, you mentioned the trades. I know from talking with Mets people, they still can't believe that there weren't a number of teams interested in Jay Bruce before the trade deadline, who's gone over to Cleveland, hitting .311, .391 on base percentage, veteran guy, and has been through a midseason trade before. But it's paying off for Cleveland.
Yep, they're sure happy to have him, that's for sure. 2-2 to Plawecki.
I don't think Asdrubal Cabrera will be September 1st. I don't think he'll be a Met. I
think he'll get traded in the next few days?
I think he'll get traded also. He's a guy that can play many positions in the infield. Switch hitter with a lot of experience.
And of course, deals can still be made. You just have to, it's different after the waiver deadline. You have to clear waivers, or if you're claimed by a team, you can only get traded to that team. So it's a little bit more difficult to trade a guy, but it can happen. We've already seen some trades in August. The Mets have an option on him for $8.5 million for next year. Sorry, Buster.
Dan, you said exactly what I was going to say. That option, maybe the Mets keep it.
Strike 3 called. Roark strikes out the side.
It ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye.
5 calories, no artificial sweeteners, and taste amazing. Bye.
Liberty Mutual stood with me when I was too busy with the kids to get a repair estimate. I just snapped a photo and got an estimate in 24 hours.
My insurance company definitely doesn't have that.
You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Since 1783, Evan Williams has proven one thing, that a good bourbon is a smooth bourbon. Many years and many barrels later, people are still reaching for the smoothness of Evan Williams. Evan Williams, seriously good bourbon.
It's okay.
Inconsciente, a été transportée à l'hôpital.
Aí, Pedro, preciso de você na caixa, Davi, ajuda ele. 对，你先把这弄上，对。
We have a chance to see everybody out of that bullpen tonight.
5-5 in the 4th.
There's a long fly ball. He leaps. He made an unbelievable catch. Did he hang on?
He sure did.
That just might be the play of the year.
MLB wants to see what you've got.
We're on the lookout for your best plays, whether it's baseball, softball, stickball, or backyard ball. Share your best stuff using hashtag MLBThePlay for a chance to be featured by MLB.
Well, as part of Players Weekend, a special edition pair of cleats was made for tonight's game. One of them with a Nationals logo, one of them with a Mets logo. These cleats will be auctioned off with 100% of net proceeds donated to the MLBPA Youth Development Foundation. The game-worn jerseys for the players are also going to be auctioned off with proceeds going to the foundation as well. And if Jess doesn't, well, she might bid on them, actually. Now that I think about it, she might bid on them and take them home with her.
Hey, watch out. I got metal cleats in my hand.
She almost
pretty cool.
Yeah, they are cool.
You're watching with these. It's cool, the Sunday Night logo. And just all the fun the guys are having, just to be able to have a little bit of personality. I mean, even stuff, I actually like the stuff that doesn't match. Like when it's the bright colors, it's the crazy stuff. Like
the socks?
Well, Lugo socks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got the designs back there.
And you talk to the players, and they are loving the ability to express themselves. Now, not every player is doing it. Like Howie Kendrick just has Kendrick, and Brett Gardner didn't want anything on the back of his jersey, and that's that's their choice. That's great, but you can see that a lot of players are really enjoying the opportunity to express themselves with a different color bat, different color cleats. Obviously, the jerseys are all very bright, whatever nickname they want on the back.
Well, and I think as they do this more, and I'm hoping MLB, and I think they will bring it back next year, I think we'll see even more creativity from the players. I think a lot were kind of a little bit more caught off guard. I had a few tell me, hey, I had like 2 or 3 that didn't get approved, so I just went with my last name. But I think, I think exploring all the different options to be able to put out a little bit more who you are.
Anthony Rendon, who's got Ant on the back of his jersey, leads off the second for the Nationals quietly, and it's probably not fair to him that I say quietly, but quietly having another really, really good season. This guy just seems to not get as much attention as his numbers and his talent, his production seem to warrant. He's hitting .299, 22 homers, 79 RBIs. And he bounces one into center field, a base hit.
Well, one thing Rendon does have is balance at the plate. That's what keeps him consistent throughout the years that he's been, from when he was at Rice to now here with the Nationals. You look, he can cover both sides of the plate really well, hitting this one right back up the middle. Watch where the location is of this pitch. Down, goes right through it, keeps his head on the baseball, balanced throughout, driving it right back where it came from. Zimmerman has started great this season. You have Murphy the same way, Harper, but the consistency of Rendon is what keeps him at that high level.
And he's the guy usually behind all those guys.
There's Adam Lind, the first baseman. You mentioned Ryan Zimmerman, not in the starting lineup for the second game of the doubleheader. He did play this afternoon. Got a bit of a triceps issue, so Dusty Baker giving him a day. And Lind is the kind of guy, what's the difference between a good team and a potentially great team? It's those guys who maybe aren't full-time players or weren't thought to be full-time players, but when they get in there, there's very little, if any, drop-off from the regulars. And Adam Lind has been one of those guys for the Nationals.
Especially against righties. And you saw the numbers, 10 home runs. He's hitting over 300. And we talk about the consistency of Rendon. When you know that Adam Lind comes into the game to be able to give Ryan Zimmerman, which is huge. The reason why Zimmerman is having the season he is because he's healthy. Keep him healthy. You do that by having guys like Adam Lind.
Guys like Lind, you look at Kendrick, you look at Goodwin. These are guys that have stepped in during the season. You see those numbers on the bottom left. This is the luxury that Dusty Baker has been able to have when guys have gone down.
Well, if everybody's healthy in October, that's the bench. That's a great bench. There are very few teams. The Dodgers have this kind of depth as well. There are very few teams that can roll out guys like that off the bench in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning in whatever role they may be needed.
Well, 3 or 4 of them. You're going to find a team like the Astros that'll have 1 or 2, but to have that many is, I think, what's impressive.
And again, it's kind of a race against time for the Nationals. How many of these injured players can they get back and get back up to speed by the time October rolls around? As every Nationals fan is painfully aware, they've been to the playoffs a number of times. Bryce Harper and company have been in the division series 3 times in the last 5 years, but they've never won one of those division series. They've never advanced beyond that round. And that's entirely what this year is about. It's not just getting there. It's making a run once you get there.
Absolutely. And I would love to be a fly on the wall when they're trying to make that postseason roster, because they have a lot of options. They even have Stephen Drew that's been on the disabled list with experience in the postseason.
There you can see some of the regular season accomplishments for the Nationals in recent years. Here's Michael A. Taylor. Guy with some power, some speed, and again has probably played more than expected. Go all the way back to April in the torn ACL for Adam Eaton. Right at the beginning of the season, Eaton is not expected back. But then again, Kyle Schwarber was not expected back last year for the Cubs. Is there a chance Eaton gets back this year?
Don't tell Adam that, because I guarantee you he's watching this game saying, Dan,
he's coming back.
I'm coming back.
And you got to admire that, right?
You have to.
And you have the example of Kyle Schwarber and what he did last year, and just busting his butt to make sure that he got all the rehab, everything he could do, the strength to get back, and then obviously do what we all saw him do for the Cubs in the postseason.
I think if they play an American League team, need a DH, not a bad candidate.
Taylor filling in his absence, the count 0-2. Taylor just came off the DL less than 2 weeks ago, had an oblique injury. Dusty Baker said, you know, it's one thing when you need the fill-ins when the regulars get hurt, but then when the fill-ins start hurt and you need fill-ins for the fill-ins, and Dusty wasn't complaining. I think he's got a real respect and almost admiration for his players at how well they've done in spite of all of these injuries.
And a respect also for the front office being able to go get those guys from other organizations, be able to fill in the AAA level and have them produce when called up.
There's Mike Rizzo, the general manager for the Washington Nationals. Up and away from Lugo.
It's a rare moment you see Mike Rizzo up in the booth. You usually see him down in the scouting where the scouts are by the dugout. His background is a scouting background. Doesn't like to watch games from upstairs.
Are GMs as superstitious as players? Maybe worse in some cases.
I believe so.
1-2. And again, the Nationals are having trouble squaring up the Lugo fastball so far tonight. Lugo struck out the side in the first. Base hit by Rendon to open up the second. Routine fly ball off the bat of Lind, and now Taylor battling with him. The count 1-2. And they're going back to the fastball. Line to right field for out number 2. Weekdays on ESPN2 at 4 Eastern, it's Intentional Talk with Chris Rose and Kevin Millar, a 1-hour breakdown of baseball's hottest topics. You can also see it streaming live on the ESPN app. Dan Shulman, Jessica Mendoza, Eduardo Perez, Buster Olney. Sunday Night Baseball from Washington, D.C., Nationals Park. The East Division leading Washington Nationals scoreless against the Mets here in the bottom of the second. This is Andrew Stevenson. Young outfielder again, and it's going to sound like a broken record, getting a chance to play because of injuries to others in front of him. Rendon can run a little bit, got 6 steals on the season. And a ground ball to second to end the inning. Leadoff base hit. Nothing more. No score at the end of 2.
My experience with USAA has been excellent. They always refer to me as Master Sergeant. They really appreciate the military family, and it really shows.
We've got auto insurance, homeowners insurance.
I had an accident with the vehicle. I actually called USAA before we called the police. USAA was very hands-on, very quick, very prompt. I feel like we're being handled as people that actually have a genuine need. We're the Weber family, and we're USAA members for life.
USAA. Get your insurance quote today.
This Tuesday on Blu-ray.
Why does she always look like she's running in slow-mo?
You see it too?
Summer gets extended.
That was amazing to watch.
That's how we roll.
With the Baywatch Extended Cut on Blu-ray Tuesday.
Touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. So good! So good!
Make your commute a little sweeter in the newly redesigned Hyundai Sonata, our best Sonata ever.
Welcome to the no pressure zone. Carl, have you met everyone? You see, time is just a construct of human perception, an illusion, like this one.
Help! I can't breathe!
Which means there's no pressure to get a great rate on a hotel. They're available for an unlimited time, always. So book now, or don't. No pressure.
Commemorate this inaugural Players Weekend at MLBShop.com with unlimited edition jerseys and tees featuring player pick nicknames. Wear the gear the players are wearing tonight and have worn on field all weekend. Available while supplies last at MLBShop.com. Between innings, Buster Olney, Dusty Baker. Time now for Unlimited Baseball. Brought to you by T-Mobile.
Dusty, a big week ahead for you guys. Max Scherzer comes back on Monday. Maybe Trey Turner on Tuesday. Maybe Jason Worth later in the week. What's going to be key? What you're going to be looking for?
Well, I'm going to be looking for how sharp they are, because they've been out quite a while. Serge only missed a couple starts, but Trey and Jason Worth have been out a while. So, they had some rehab, at bats down there. But the number one thing I'm looking for is just, how sharp they are. And they'll probably be sharp on fastballs, but the all-speed stuff might give them a little trouble early.
All right, it's Players Weekend. You've got Dusty on the back of your jersey. Where'd you get that nickname?
Well, I got that from my mom, and I was told that we had a big backyard, a lot of grass, and there was one dirt spot out there, and that's where I used to play all the time. And I used to eat dirt, so my mom didn't want to call me dirty, so they called me Dusty. And everybody in my family has always called me Dusty, because my dad was Johnny B. Baker Sr., but there's only one Johnny in my house, and that was my dad.
Dusty, thanks.
I never heard that story. You guys ever hear that story before?
No, I love it. That was great.
That's great. That really is.
Didn't want to call me dirty, so called me Dusty. One big dust patch in the backyard.
He is one of the true characters in baseball. I mean, a great player. Like, for people who are too young to have seen him play, he could really hit. He was a really good player, and obviously has had tremendous success as a manager, better than 1,800 wins in his managerial career. Dusty Baker's 14th on the all-time list in wins, 1,843, and guys 12 of the 13 ahead of him are in the Hall of Fame. The only one who isn't is Gene Mauch. And you wonder, does Dusty have a shot at Cooperstown based on what he's done as a manager? Might it depend on what the Nationals do in the postseason? Dusty's contract is up at the end of this year. He has not been signed to an extension. Be interesting to see. That's one of those many subplots for this Nationals team.
Yeah, for both teams, but I think Dusty in particular, I think it's going to rely a lot on what they do in the postseason. This is a city and a team and an organization that's tired of being the best in the division, getting to the postseason, and then not getting past that first round. And Dusty's the guy that I think when they hired believed he could do that. And we'll find out in October.
You look at the numbers of what the Nationals have done under Dusty Baker, and I'll tell you right now, I think it's up to him if he wants to come back or not. Communication he has with Rizzo upstairs, with the players downstairs. I don't believe that they have to win it all or even get to the World Series for him to be able to come back here.
A roller down to first, and Gavin Cecchini is retired for the first out of the inning. Here's a look at Dusty Baker's postseason career as a manager. 3 trips to the postseason with the Giants, and including going all the way to Game 7 against the Angels back in 2002. Yes, Dusty was the manager for the Cubs back in 2003 when they had that heartbreak against the Marlins. Led the Reds to the postseason. Has managed the Nationals to the postseason. He's been in October a lot, but he's never been able, or has never been the manager of a World Series champion. Could this be the year? We throw around the term players manager a lot, and it's often associated with Dusty Baker. Do you guys feel that's accurate? And what does that mean to you? What would being a players manager mean to you guys?
It means he respects and he understands how difficult, one, it is to play the game. He expects you to just be prepared. And if you do that as a player, he'll back you up 100%. He understands. He wants you to. It has that office always to open the door. You go in, you tell him, hey, I'm 80%, but I can give you all of 80%. And that's all he expects. He wants you to respect the game. He does it during the plane rides. He's there with the players playing cards in the back of the plane. He relates to the players, and to be able to relate to a player today is a lot more difficult than it was in the past, and he's been able to do that.
But I think two words that might apply to Dusty would be sincere and integrity. And I think that's what a lot of players feel about him.
Look at the way he just told that simple story to Buster. I mean, to me, he channeled a 12-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid, in a way that was so genuine, full of love. And I feel like when he talks to his players, there's a sense of just what Buster just said, that integrity, that sincerity that is respected, because you don't find it as much now.
First year of the Fall League, I played for the Scottsdale Scorpions, and my manager was Dusty Baker. And it was his first time managing any type of professional ball, and he was excellent. He understood and knew how to talk to the players. You have to give him a lot of credit for that, because he's done it since the get-go. A year later, he's managing the San Francisco Giants. It just tells you that he understands how to treat the superstar, but also how to treat that 25th man on the roster. It's from what you said, talking to the player, understanding them.
Lugo with a ground ball down to third, put up a good fight, but eventually is retired 2 down. Well, a lot of people think if the Nationals or anybody is going to come out of the National League and go to the World Series, they're going to have to go through Los Angeles. The Dodgers have had an incredible season, and news today that Clayton Kershaw reportedly is going to come off the DL and start Friday in San Diego against the Padres. So Max Scherzer is going to come off the DL and start tomorrow. Clayton Kershaw, it sounds like, will be back Friday, as these teams are hoping to get healthier and gear up for the postseason. Big news for the Dodgers. Jose Reyes loops one into left center field, going to get down for a base hit.
Well, as I mentioned, with Bryce Harper being hurt, and it's not just the Nationals that miss him, but baseball, we have some big names. And we have some names, especially heading down the back end of the stretch. You want those players to be playing the game. Clayton Kershaw is at the top of that list. When you think of guys that you want to see him, not day in, day out, but every five starts. So to get him back, not just for the Dodgers, just for the game, to be able to watch him pitch is important. It's huge.
Reyes aboard with 2 down, no score, top of the third. The batter was Juan Lagares. Well, then you wonder, obviously nobody associated with the Dodgers wanted to see Kershaw get hurt, but if he can come back and not have any further issues with the back, will being off whatever it was 6 weeks, is there a little more gas in the tank, a little more strength in the arm heading into October, because he hasn't thrown as many pitches this year? Can it almost turn into a positive?
I think it did last year. I mean, when he went on the DL, and that was a much more serious injury with his back last season, and when he came back, I mean, not only was he just as good, but he seemed rejuvenated. And I think that, honestly, Dan, that's why they kind of lengthened this DL stint.
Just to your point, he made 5 starts off the DL last year. His ERA in those 5 starts, 1.29. And then, of course, he rolled right into the postseason.
One and one, the count on Lagares. Dodgers were beaten today by Milwaukee 3-2. They're still 91-38. Having an incredible year, and not only is Kershaw apparently coming back Friday, but Yu Darvish pitched today. He came off the DL, went 5 innings, gave up 3 earned runs.
How about Rich Hill? I mean, feel bad for the guy. 9 full no-hit innings. Game's tied. He comes out for the 10th, gives up a home run, and loses the game. But, I mean, he's been dominant when he's healthy as well. It's going to be a good front four when you think about Alex Wood, Yu Darvish, Clayton Kershaw, and Rich Hill. The Nationals got that, too, when they're healthy.
Kenta Maeda has not pitched bad either.
Big lead in drawing a throw is Reyes. Well, obviously, it sure looks like the Dodgers just running away with the best record, so they'll play the wild card winner in one division series. And it sure looks like the Nationals will play the champion of the National League Central in a division series. Right now, that would be the Cubs. One-two. Runner goes. Throw down, sails into center field. Reyes with his 15th stolen base on the season.
Actually, a good pitch to be able to throw to second base. Pitch up in the zone. Jose Lobaton rushed the throw. See right there, Roark slow to the plate. Pitch up, tries to rush it. Lets it go a little prematurely. Fortunately, Reyes going head first isn't able to go to third.
Reyes recently surpassing the 500 stolen base mark in his career. In scoring position with 2 down for Lagares. Line to right field. Stevenson there to make the play and end the inning. Still scoreless going to the bottom of the third.
When kids are coming into my classroom, they know that Mr. Jackson is the rapping teacher. We call it the remainder. That's the number that remains. Technology is a huge piece of education. Using the pen for the first time on the Windows 10 PC is great. I'm able to highlight different rhyme schemes. I can actually see my lines when I'm shading in. I can change the weight, drawing directly on my screen. I couldn't do this on my Mac. I can definitely see the future happening. I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit.
So some bad things happened to you. Now you want to kill those mean old terrorists.
For starters.
Mitch is off the charts. He's exactly what I've been looking for.
He's not ready. But he will be.
Dylan O'Brien and Michael Keaton.
You disobeyed a direct order. Never, ever let it get personal.
Yes, sir.
American Assassin, rated R.
It's time for the biggest sale of the year with the new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed. It senses and automatically adjusts on both sides. The new 360 Smart Bed is part of our biggest sale of the year where all beds are on sale. And right now, save 50% on the Labor Day limited edition bed.
What if we could stream live sports, our favorite shows and TV channels, with no annual contracts or surprise fees? What if we could watch live TV on our favorite devices? What if we could get the TV experience we always wanted? What if we never again had to ask, what if? TV has changed. It's time to change how we get it. This is PlayStation Vue. Start your free trial today.
PlayStation.
Summon Terragorn the Brave.
He's at the podiatrist.
Going into battle without the best team? Bad fantasy. Drafting your team from anywhere? Good fantasy. Sign up now at ESPN.com/GoodFantasy.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Hyundai and Hotwire. Welcome to the No Pressure Zone. Making at least a couple of us hungry up here. Eduardo, I don't know your Sunday night eating habits as well as I know Jess's. Jess gets hungry fast when she sees, some subliminal advertising, some food commercials or anything like that.
Williamsport, I was spoiled rotten. They brought up pizza, they brought up nachos, fried dough, which I'd never had before.
Come on.
Oh, living large in Williamsport. Little leaguers.
Do you have any funnel
They know
cakes?
how to eat. Well, fried dough to me is like a funnel cake, but apparently it's not. I don't know. It's a whole argument.
Oh, okay.
It's the same stuff. You fry dough.
I'm usually on a flight around this time watching you guys in the airplane.
Speaking of Williamsport, Little League World Series, it wrapped up earlier today with Japan defeating the kids from Lufkin, Texas to win the Little League World Series. That Japanese team was unbelievable the whole tournament.
Their defense, and that's what Japan is known for, but I played in Japan many years, and they practice.
Tell me about it. I played there.
Their D is ridiculous.
I think you guys had a graphic up of the schedule. They don't practice 7 days a week, but they get after it on weekends, and it was like a 12-hour practice schedule.
They practice 10 hours, and it starts at 6 a.m., the running, the lifting, the lunch.
Our travel there was on a Shinkansen, which is a bullet train in Japan, and And in the morning, we would leave around 8 o'clock in the morning to go to Tokyo. I used to play in Osaka. And there were already kids practicing in full uniform. In the middle of practice, running, throwing, doing drills, starting from 7 a.m. on. Baseball's life there, too.
Mexico defeating North Carolina in the third place game in Williamsport today. Shattered bat. The ball goes past the bat out towards second. And Jose Lobaton is retired, 1 down. Other news from around baseball today. Another day, another homer for the unstoppable force that is Giancarlo Stanton. And this one was a big one, a big round number. His 50th home run on the season. We're not even at the end of August right now. The Marlins win again. They beat San Diego 6-2, and Stanton on a fairly short list of players who have hit their 50th home run before the end of August.
He's special. He's doing it in a ballpark where it's not a hitter's ballpark. What a season. 25 home runs on the road, 25 home runs at home. Balanced throughout, and since he changed that batting stance, he has been on fire. You have to give a lot of credit to Frank Menechino, the assistant hitting coach for Giancarlo Stanton and the Miami Marlins.
And it's a dramatic change. I mean, he closed that stance up, and he's dramatically just altered the way that his approach is to the plate, and to have that adjustment be made, and then the difference he's been in the second half. And just look where he ranks this season.
So a couple of weeks ago, people were starting to say, you know, maybe he should be in the MVP conversation. Is he in the conversation, or is he the conversation right now? Is he the front runner for the award?
He is. To me, he is the front runner. You look at those numbers right there, and you look at where he plays. He is carrying right now the Miami Marlins. You can make an argument when Bryce Harper was healthy. Not anymore. He's not on the list because he hasn't been playing. You can make an argument for Paul Goldschmidt, for Nolan Arenado, but they play in 2 ballparks that the ball flies in. And to me, to be able to play in Miami, to be able to make an in-season adjustment the way he has and put the team on his shoulders, he's the MVP right now.
And knowing all the attention that he and how tired he was, we saw him in Miami. Everything that he did in and around the All-Star game, the home run derby, and how exhausted he was, and honestly where he was at in the season at that halfway point. But I mean, Paul Goldschmidt to me, and he doesn't get a lot of love. I know he's not hitting the bombs that Giancarlo Stanton is, but when you look at Paul Goldschmidt year after year, I mean, come on,
Mr.
give
Consistency,
the guy some love. He's been my pick for MVP all season long.
That's great. Second place. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I get it. I understand.
We're going head to head.
I get it. I understand. I respect your opinion, but you look at what Giancarlo has done, or better said, this weekend, what the Cruiser has done. He's been on cruise control. He's been doing it. And he's been doing it with legit blast. Again, you look at the numbers, hitting just slightly over 300 at home, slightly under 300 on the road. It's been a balanced attack throughout, hitting 297 in the season. Giancarlo Stanton, right now, MVP, clear-cut National League.
Alejandro De Aza with a fly ball to right field, and coming over to make the catch, Tyrone. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Nats. Still no score. We're at the end of 3.
During the Made to Move 2017 clearance event, you can do endless online research about the Escalade. Or you can come in and have it all for less than you might imagine. Don't wait. Our 2017 models will be moving fast. You can drive a car, or you can drive a Cadillac. Come in now before the end of our Made to Move 2017 clearance event and leave with the perfect Cadillac Escalade for you. Purchase with 0% APR for...
So you love your game? So does he. You say ain't nobody gonna work harder? He said the same thing. You get an hour of training in before the sun even comes up, plenty of early risers out there. You got the gear, they got the gear. You got a secret weapon, this dude doesn't need one. See, this isn't just a game of inches, this is a game of ounces. And the next ounce you give might just be the one the other guy doesn't. Gatorade, rehydrate.
Can I give it to you straight? That airline credit card you have, it could be better. It's time to shake things up. With the Capital One Venture Card, you get double miles on everything you buy, not just airline purchases. Seriously, think of all the things you buy. Great. Is this why you asked me to coffee? Well, yeah, but also to catch up. What's in your wallet?
The goal of every allergy sufferer is zero nasal allergy symptoms, and nothing gets you closer than Nasacort. Unlike antihistamines that target one cause of your symptoms, Nasacort stops more, and stopping more gets you closer to zero. Nasacort stops more of what makes you miserable.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN is presented by Taco Bell. Back in Washington, no score Mets and Nationals moments ago. Buster Olney with Mets manager Terry Collins.
Terry, Matt Harvey pitched in AA on Saturday, pitched 4 2/3 innings. What's your expectation for him with his next start?
Well, we're gonna see him obviously this week when we get to Cincinnati, and right now we're certainly counting on him pitching for us at the end of the week.
What are your feelings about him moving forward?
Well, you know, I think you got to get, you know, it's hard, rehabs are so hard to, you know, to take a look at and see how they do. There's the motivation, and, you know, it's about getting your work in. And so I think obviously Matt will have a huge test if he's ready by the weekend. We got to go to Houston, so I'll be anxious to see getting back on the mound, but I think he's ready to take a look at him.
Terry, thanks.
And Terry Collins mentioning Houston. The Astros are scheduled to start a homestand on Tuesday, and of course everybody's heart's just aching for everybody down in the Houston, Corpus Christi, anywhere in Texas that has been affected by the devastating rain, kind of the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. And we've all read the stories and seen the videos and the pictures, and they're just heartbreaking, and everybody sending their thoughts and trying to help any way they can. From a baseball perspective, don't know yet. I believe baseball is going to make a decision at some point soon, whether it's tonight or tomorrow morning, whether or not baseball can be played there this week. That's obviously way down the list of things that matter, but the Astros may have to move some games. But I know all of us, we've been talking about it all day, just what's going on down there right now. Just some of the pictures and videos we're seeing are hard to believe how much rain is falling in that area.
And that it's not getting better anytime soon, that the rain's going to continue to come. And it just, my heart goes out to everyone in the Houston area. And honestly, those even throughout the state of Texas that are now providing homes and shelter and provisions and everything. It's a huge deal. And I don't think anyone isn't affected by it, by either family, friends, or even just watching the news.
Anthony Rendon is from Houston, born in Houston, went to Rice, and he is thinking of his hometown by riding onto the back of one of his cleats here on Players Weekend. Everybody impacted one way or the other, and for people who have family or friends down there, you can only imagine how tough the last few days have been. And again, we all send our thoughts to everybody down in the affected areas. Hope the worst is over. It sounds like it's still going to keep coming for the next couple of days, but hopefully it's going to start getting better very soon.
Just tells you how scary hurricanes are. They can get you with the wind, they can get you with the flooding, with the amount of rain, and it's just standing still there. Now it's a tropical storm, and it's my heart goes out to everyone in Texas, everyone affected, and all the family members.
1-1 the count on Wilmer Flores, called out on strikes his first time up. Tanner Roark has 6 strikeouts through 3 1/3.
2-1.
The rotation fronted by Max Scherzer, who, as we mentioned, will come off the DL and start against Miami tomorrow. Steven Strasburg dealing with a bit of a calf issue, gets dehydrated easily apparently, and that may have been the issue in his last start, but pitched great in the 6 innings he was in there, and obviously when healthy, he's a terrific starting pitcher. And then Gio Gonzalez, if you want to consider him the 3 guy in the rotation, has had one of the best years that not enough people know about in baseball. What a year Gio Gonzalez has had.
He really has, and he's been able early on in the season getting outs when getting in trouble. Wild was effectively wild, but since the All-Star break he's been able to hit the corners well, pitching hard. Remember, he was very tight with Jose Fernandez, and he dedicated this season to Jose, and he pitched brilliantly actually when they were in Miami earlier in the season.
Eduardo, you were talking about Gio Gonzalez in the second half. How about these numbers? 6-1 with a 1.46 ERA. And he slowly is beginning to creep into that conversation about, you know, does he fill the number 3 spot on a Cy Young ballot, number 4 maybe.
And he took it personal when he was not selected to the All-Star team. Wanted to pitch in his hometown of Miami.
So Buster, you're saying conceivably could finish 3rd in the Cy Young race and could be the number 3 starter on his own team in the playoffs.
Right, exactly.
You know,
but yeah, perhaps you put him between Strasburg and Scherzer, but normally they do line up Scherzer then Strasburg. So you're exactly right.
You know, the Dodgers have the same kind of luxury, whether it's Hill or Wood or Darvish. You know, I mean, just two very deep rotations. Their strikeout number 7.
And how about the number 4 starter for the Nationals tonight, Tanner Roark? And watch his unique style, that crossfire. So everything is coming at right-handed batters, but watch him come across the plate, even though he starts on the third base side. So these pitches look like they're going to be away, but he backdoors it. So this is his two-seam fastball. Watch it come across the plate and then run back over the outside part of the plate. We've seen a lot of strike threes on takes against that two-seam fastball with that beautiful crossfire he's showing tonight. And then he's got that nasty curve. I mean, Seth Lugo on the opposite side, he gets a lot of love for his curveball because of the high spin rate, but Tanner Roark tonight has had that top to bottom action. Kept these Mets bats pretty quiet.
Last year, 16-10 with a 2.83 ERA. In 2014, 15-10 with a 2.85 ERA. He has had some very good years at the big league level as he faces first baseman Dominic Smith.
And Dan, he hasn't had the season, as you mentioned, that we've seen in the past. And you look at his starts this year, he's had some really good ones, he's had some really poor ones. You haven't seen that consistency, and it really comes down to the pitch we highlighted. You know, that two-seam fastball, and he's got 4 pitches that he'll utilize, but when that pitch doesn't have that run, that sink, it gets hit a lot. And like any pitcher, the location, he's not going to blow it by you. You see tonight, 92, 93 at tops. But he has to get the break, the movement, the action for him to have success.
Actually throwing a lot of pitches considering how dominant he's been. He hasn't walked anybody. He's only given up 2 hits, but a lot of deep counts, a lot of strikeouts, so not a lot of quick resolutions to these at-bats. There's another fairly deep count with another foul ball on 2 strikes. So Roark, as well as he's pitching, is pushing 80 pitches already here in the 4th.
You wanted to execute that curveball a little bit lower than that what he threw it. Was able to get away with it. Smith struck out last time on a curveball on the inside part. He needs to try to hit his back foot. If he's able to do that, he will, Smith that is, catch the bait and swing over it.
Two again. And there's that two-seamer to run back over the inside corner for strikeout number 8. Roark strikes out the side for the 2nd time tonight.
Thought the Chalupa couldn't get any better? Meet the Double Chalupa. Get it with a Doritos Locos taco, a crunchy taco, and a medium drink. The new limited edition $5 Double Chalupa box. Love it while it lasts. Only at Taco Bell.
Alexa, reorder Purina Beyond cat food.
Order confirmed.
Alexa, show me my baby.
Okay.
There she is.
Call from the bedroom.
Everything okay down there?
Mm-hmm.
Allergy sufferers, a word to the wise. If symptoms at night ruin your next day, try new Xyzal. It relieves symptoms while you sleep and keeps relieving all day. Because Xyzal's as effective at hour 24 as at hour 1. So, be wise-all. Take new Xyzal.
Hey, buddy. Looking good. You know what we gotta do, right? Let's go. Come on.
Not.
You're a good driver.
But that's
Get
not.
in the car.
No.
I don't think I should do this.
Just get in the car!
No.
Things are about to get real. New Kingswood barbecue sauces. Real ingredients like brown sugar and smoked hickory. Built on 90 years of grilling tradition. Start something real. New Kingswood sauces.
A
Apparently, the picture is worth 1,000 words. The award-winning 4K displays from Vizio.
Play Ball is MLB's initiative to inspire all forms of baseball and softball participation and making opportunities available and fun for everyone. To learn more, go to playball.org. Bottom of the fourth, Mets nothing, Nationals nothing. Wilmer Difo, Daniel Murphy, Anthony Rendon for the Nats against Seth Lugo. Difo, the shortstop, struck out his first time up. Both pitchers have been outstanding so far tonight. Roark for the Nationals and Lugo for the Mets. Lugo's given up just one base hit, has not walked a batter, and he has struck out 4.
Did a really nice job establishing the fastball early, first time around the lineup. Only threw one curveball. Was able to get guys going with that fastball, two-seamer, and also cutter in on the lefties.
By the way, guys, Terry Collins told me between innings that he's going to go about 70, 75 pitches tonight.
At 46 right now. Of course, the rotation was supposed to be the strength of the team, as it has been or was supposed to have been each of the last few years for the Mets. But talk about injuries. Syndergaard's been out a long time with a lat injury. Harvey's been out a long time but should be getting close. He's had a shoulder injury. Jacob deGrom, the only member of the starting rotation who has not been on the DL this year. The only member of the group expected to be in the rotation at the beginning of the year who's not been on the DL. He's had a very good year, but not enough of his buddies have been healthy as much as Terry Collins needed them this year. Zach Wheeler's out. He won't pitch again this season. Steven Matz is out. He won't pitch again this season. The biggest reason they went to the World Series 2 years ago was the starting rotation, but guys are just too many injuries.
Well, and extreme injuries, and I think this is where the Mets do have hope for the future, although this has been the case the last couple years. But if you can get half these guys healthy to be able to just pitch more throughout the season, and the kind of injuries they have. Now, Matt Harvey's the one I'm most concerned about. I know you just talked to Terry Collins, just talked to Buster about him coming back very soon, but he's got that thoracic outlet syndrome surgery. You've seen a lot of guys struggle when they come off of that. I've played with athletes that have come off of that and just never been the same. So I think Matt Harvey's the one of biggest concern if he'll ever be the same.
There's a base hit through the right side for Difo. That'll bring Daniel Murphy to the plate now for the Nationals as we take a look at StatCast, powered by AWS.
Think about what makes Daniel Murphy so good. And there's a lot of things, but he has the lowest swing and miss percentage. This is a guy that just knows how to not only control the strike zone, but be able to put the ball in play, put it in play well. When you look at the list of these kind of hitters, 12.9% percentage of being able to, that lowest swing and miss percentage. So for him, You'll watch him just spoil pitches, be able to control the pitch that he wants, which allows him to consistently have that high batting average, which he's had throughout his career.
And the amazing thing is he's added a tremendous amount of power without sacrificing any of the contact. I got to believe extremely hard to do when you're already an established big leaguer. You've been around for a few years already to make that kind of a change.
You see how he's on top of the plate. He's thinking one thing, and that's pull. He knows that it's no secret. Lugo knows it. The entire Mets team knows it. But he's on the plate. Anything outside, he can trust that he can go the other way. He can trust that he can pull it if he hits it out front.
But also watch him with 2 strikes. I mean, he's 0-1 right now, but he's one of the best when he gets behind the count. So now he's 0-2. Okay, so there he's pulling a breaking ball. But his ability to kind of even shorten up, and he has a simple swing. You're going to see him get the big leg kick and do a lot of the more extreme pre-stance stuff. He's a guy that with 2 strikes has the ability to just kind of, first of all, spoil. I don't want to hit that. You're out of here.
takes just outside.
I love how he asked Alan Porter right there, do I have some more or not? Is that as far as it goes? Alan Porter then tells him, not only does he put it, and he knows exactly where that pitch is going to be or called, but now he's telling Alan Porter, you cannot call anything else further away than that. It's a strategy. You don't ask him where it is, you tell him. That pitch is a little bit just, I had it an inch outside. Right, exactly. You don't ask, was it a ball by this much? That way you're telling that umpire that you know the zone just as well as the umpire.
And a breaking ball shot into right field for a base hit. Defoe around second and on his way to third. So he gets in the hole 0-2, takes a close pitch, and then winds up with a base hit.
And you see that first pitch was a two-seamer, then the curveball, second time around the lineup, starts going to the curveball. That's the fourth one in this inning that he threw. Had only thrown one throughout. Murphy sees it, is able to stay with it, down and pull it and keep it fair. Last year, hitters against the curveball, the slugging percentage 294. This year, it's gone up to 350 against Lugo on the mound.
So a real good example of what makes Daniel Murphy one of the toughest outs in baseball, and that at bat right there. And the Nationals now threatening here in the fourth. First and third, nobody out for Anthony Rendon. Lugo misses outside with the first pitch slider for ball one. Rendon hitting .359 on the season with runners in scoring position. 79 runs driven in. He's in the top 10 of the National League in walks, on base percentage, OPS, is really having a strong year.
Dan, today began, it started play today. He had a 5.8 wins above replacement, that according to Fangraphs. And you know that so many writers now base their MVP votes on WAR. That's the best in the National League, and there's a gap actually between he and Paul Goldschmidt. Giancarlo Stanton at 5.4 behind him.
He finished fifth in MVP balloting a couple of years ago. Buster, do you think he's got a chance to get some serious MVP votes this year?
I think he does if the pack stays together, but I agree with Eduardo that Giancarlo Stanton is injecting himself into this race in a very ferocious way.
Paul Goldschmidt having a great year. Nolan Arenado having a great year. Charlie Blackmon having a great year for Colorado.
Oh my gosh. I mean, talk about another guy that, you know, the power, you expect that, the Rockies, but dude's been hitting 330, 340 all season long. The consistency, and he's not hitting Stanton bombs. I mean, no one hits Stanton bombs, but I mean, he's hitting the ball maybe out like 350, 360 feet, but getting it done consistently.
And had Bryce Harper not gotten hurt, he's obviously in the conversation. He was right there before the injury. 2-2. Way outside a full count.
Cody Bellinger, another one, the Dodgers as well.
This is a great compliment for a player that's been in the league for a long time now, that a defense plays you straight up. Usually you see one-dimensional type hitters. You play the infield dead pull with Anthony Rendon, runners in scoring position. This is why he's so good. He's balanced throughout. He can hit the ball line to line. Tough to defend.
First and third, nobody out. And Murphy draws a throw. The Mets thinking maybe Murphy will be on the move on this full count pitch. Shook him off 3 times. Now has the one he wants. Runner not going. And it's a base hit through the right side, and the Nationals have the lead. Murphy's trying for third. Throw is not in time.
Well, Eddie, you talked about it. Anthony Rendon, so much respect. Obviously, he's able to understand the strike zone, take the pitches, but watch how quiet he is and being able to take every pitch, gets a good swing right there, works the count back to full, and a beautiful swing on a pitch that's not bad. It's a curveball that's breaking off of the plate, but watch his hands just get to this pitch, this ball, and he follows it. And this is what a shortened two-strike swing will get you. Anthony Rendon continues to do this throughout the season. A beautiful at-bat to poke a base hit in and get the Nats on the board.
That's aggressive base running right there by Murph. Taking first to third. He was committed ever since he was taking his secondary.
Pretty close play. Very aggressive considering nobody out. Now Adam Lind. And he has popped it up back of the plate, and this one will get back into the seats.
Interesting so far, Seth Lugo giving up 3 hits in this inning, 3 singles, but 2 of them off the curveball. Had not used it the first time around the lineup, only once. Has gone to it this inning, and it's been hit. Last year, the best in revolutions per minute when it comes to the curveball, 33.18. That's 3,318.
Spin rate. Oof. He's second this year.
It's dropped a considerable amount too. 3,069 revolutions per minute.
For a nasty slider down and in to Adam Lind there to jump out in front 0-2. Lind, a former Silver Slugger Award winner back in his days with Toronto, was the DH one year in the American League. He puts the bat on the ball, sends it to right center field. Lagares with a long run makes the catch, but tagging and scoring is Murphy on the sac fly to make it 2-0.
Another curveball too. Again, Eddie, you're right. This is a pitch that we've seen the Nationals on now consistently. I'm surprised they keep going back to it, because even when it's getting the break it's supposed to get, Adam Lind just does a nice job. He doesn't get all of it, he just gets enough of it. He's a little bit out in front of it, but able to use his lower half. As you see that back foot, just kind of give it enough. Watch his back foot kind of come off the ground, push through it to be able to lift this ball to get Murphy in for a sac fly.
Now you go through your hitters meetings. You go through your hitters meetings and you have that game plan of knowing that Seth Lugo goes to his curveball, especially when he's ahead in the count. And in that first go around, it seemed like the hitters were late off the fastball. They were sitting curveball, couldn't make the adjustment. It's hard to make the adjustment when you sit curveball. It's almost impossible to do so. This time around, they stuck to their game. Lugo has caught the bait. They've been able to hit it.
Michael Taylor takes outside, a ball and a strike, and activity now with the Mets bullpen. Left-hander Josh Smoker has started to throw. So Lugo sailing through the first 3 innings, but has given up 2 runs on 3 hits here in the 4th.
And I'd like to see him go back to his fastball, his 4-seam, and elevate it. Because if what you're saying is true, Eddie, they're looking for that curveball, just being a little more ready for it. If he can get his 4-seam, which will look a lot of times like the curveball out of the hand when it's elevated, I think he's going to get more success like he did the first time through the order.
First start since coming back off the DL. Had a shoulder impingement that put him on the DL on August the 12th. It's 15 days ago. And making his return to active duty here tonight. Taylor with the fly ball to right field, his first time up. And on deck is Andrew Stevenson, one of the many players sporting the very bright multicolored socks that players are wearing here on this Players Weekend. Lugo's got him on the mound as well. Runner goes. Pitch strike 3, throw down not in time, so 2 down, and Rendon steals second.
That pitch was outside also. Watch the K-zone. Alan Porter's been consistent. He's been calling this pitch a couple inches off the plate a strike. Watch where Pawlicki catches it. Ball's outside. Porter's looking for it. Has a good at-bat, but right there. Porter set up on the inside part. Can't get the right call.
And that'll be it for Lugo. Terry Collins will make the move. Smoker coming in from the pen.
And that's how a pelican took my wallet. Oh no, I've got this. I'll use MasterPass.
Don't just buy it, MasterPass it. Bringing home an amazing story, priceless.
I've seen them all. Big, small, wide, slim. Which is why at Men's Warehouse, we create the perfect fit.
Now, save up to 60% store-wide at Men's Warehouse.
Because no matter what size your label says, it's time to like the way you look.
You totaled your brand new car. Nobody's hurt, but there will still be pain. It comes when your insurance company says they'll only pay 3/4 of what it takes to replace it. What are you supposed to do, drive 3/4 of a car? Now, if you had Liberty Mutual new car replacement, you'd get your whole car back. I guess they don't want you driving around on 3 wheels. Smart.
With Liberty Mutual new car replacement, we'll replace the full value of your car. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. This is Lynchburg, Tennessee. This is how many people were born here. This many are 5th generation. This is how many are named Hiawatha Kitty McGee. He keeps the town dry. They'd prefer it a little wet. This many are proud of what we make here. This is how many will go around bragging about it. This is our town. If you can't get here, just look for one of our postcards. We send them all over. They look like this.
2-0, the Nationals lead the Mets. Bottom of the 4th, Anthony Rendon has driven in one of the runs tonight. To help us get to know Rendon a little bit better, let's go down to the field with Buster Olney.
Guys, Anthony Rendon was born in Richmond, Texas. That's about 35 miles outside of Houston. He played at Rice University in Houston. He finished 5th, Dan, as you mentioned, the National League MVP voting in 2014. He also learned how to play guitar that year, and his first song was George Strait's Troubadour. And then last weekend, the Class A Potomac Nationals had a bobblehead giveaway that highlighted his hair. Now, we've been talking about his deep roots in the Houston area. He's been watching that terrible situation developing. I asked him about a thought for Houston before this game, and he looked at me, thumped his chest, and said, "Stay strong."
Yeah, a lot of people feeling that way, and as we mentioned before, we all send our thoughts and prayers out to the folks in Texas who are being impacted so drastically, so significantly by Hurricane Harvey. And again, Rendon with a shout out to his hometown on the back of his cleats here tonight. New pitcher on for the Mets is left-hander Josh Smoker to face Andrew Stevenson.
Smoker can show you 94 to 96 miles per hour right over the top. Has struggled both against right-handed hitters and left-handed hitters. Around the 300 range. You see 38 games so far and strikeouts 50. He's walked plenty with 26.
Julio Lugo, great through 3. Maybe just ran out of gas a little bit. First start in a couple of weeks coming off the DL. Seth Lugo, excuse me, as Lugo ran into trouble in the 4th inning after really dominating the Nationals at times through the first 3, especially back in the 1st when he struck out the side. Fly ball to left field. Nimmo with lots of room, and that's the inning. Couple of runs though for the Nationals. They lead 2-0 at the end of 4.
Liberty Mutual stood with me when I was too busy with the kids to get a repair estimate. I just snapped a photo and got an estimate in 24 hours.
My insurance company definitely doesn't have that.
You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
We asked premium vehicle owners to judge 3 premium sedans, not knowing the brands.
It is quite responsive and intuitive.
High quality craftsmanship.
The stitching adds a level of refinement. I like the aggressive sculptural lines.
Wow.
I've always trusted Mazda.
I like driving this car the best.
Discover a smarter premium at the Driver's Choice event.
Get 0% APR for 60 months plus 1,000 APR cash on new 2017 Mazda sedans.
I don't want to make it tough. I just want to tell you that I've had enough. It might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye.
Five calories, no artificial sweeteners, and taste amazing. Bye.
It's that time. The time when every swing matters. The time when every step, every throw, every slide might mean the difference between making history and going home. As the countdown to October begins, MLB Network will keep up with every second of the pennant chase. Because the time is now.
As we touched on just briefly a little bit earlier, the Little League World Series wrapped up today in Williamsport, and for the 5th time in 8 years, Japan is the champion. Natsuki Yajima with an RBI single there. Japan wins by mercy rule, 12-2 into 5 innings over Lufkin, Texas. And Jess, you were there. You were part of the coverage for a number of days. What did you take away from the event?
Oh my goodness, where do we begin? I mean, it was just impressive to see these kids. I mean, truly kids. Love the game, get the game, just the entirety of being a child and being able to go out and play baseball. The things that they would talk about, the fun, the smiles, the high fives, the tears. And honestly, watching Japan, the international teams, the way that they interacted with a lot of the American teams, I mean, that's what makes it special. And by the way, Japan won that game after Texas 2 home runs in the first inning. The first pitch of the game left the yard. So it looked like, all right, here comes Texas. Japan shut them down.
How much did you see? What'd you like?
I saw a little bit. I'm telling you, I was busy, but I saw a little bit, and it's just the enthusiasm of the kids. As I guarantee you, every major league player, though, that's what they had in the clubhouse the entire time. Yeah. And they know exactly what happened throughout the entire tournament. They have their favorites, and they each one hope that each Little Leaguer says their name as their favorite player.
Dan, you were there too. I mean, you got to do the Little League Classic. I know that was your first time to Williamsport.
Second time. Second time, yeah. Took my son there a few years ago just to watch a couple of games. So it was great. My favorite part was just seeing the Little Leaguers and the Big Leaguers get together and mingle last Sunday when the Pirates and Cardinals were there, to see Andrew McCutchen or Josh Harrison or Yadier Molina sit down with the kids, and to see the Big Leaguers be as interested in meeting the kids as the kids were in meeting the Big Leaguers.
They were taking selfies and asking them for autographs. I mean, that was awesome to see. I loved you all dicked out in your Canada gear. I mean, you were a fan,
too. Got to represent you. You know, where you're from is where you're from, right?
Started off good, right?
Yeah, won the first 2. One down in the 5th inning, and Kevin Plawecki with a ground ball to short, and 2 quick outs. Well, speaking of decked out, it is Players Weekend, and we were all asked to provide nicknames. Where's mine?
Oh yeah.
And had jerseys made for us.
That's right. Mendoza, Dozer.
I love lefties.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a story.
Yeah.
There's got to be a story.
All right, back it up with a story.
This is how I made my living.
Yeah.
Off lefties. Every time I saw a left-hander, I knew that I was going to start.
Yep.
So I love lefties. If there was a right-hander, it'd mean vacation time. So I was always ready.
So do you want to thank all the lefties for prolonging your career and getting you more of a pension and all that kind of stuff?
No doubt. As a matter of fact, we were in Cooperstown, and I ran into Randy Johnson, and I was with my wife, and I go, Mitzi, this is Randy. She goes, I know who you are. Randy, I love you. Randy, you're the best. I mean, my kids go to beautiful schools, great schools. I'm telling you, beautiful thing. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, lefties.
That lefty, too. Well done, Eddie.
Howdy. Hey. There we go. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's not your car.
Car's ready.
Wrong car.
This is not your car? I would love to take it, but no. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. You guys want to check it out?
Someone else's car.
This is beautiful. What is this?
It's the all-new Chevy Equinox.
This feels like a luxury SUV.
I love this little 360. How do they even do that?
I made a bad decision on my last car purchase.
Well, your car's here.
Bummer. Bummer.
Wah, wah. I'm ready for an upgrade.
You think it's just 5 guys between you and that rim? Try 500. Because for every guy you beat, there's 100 more out there with your same fire, working on your same moves, all trying to steal your glory. So if you want to be the one and only, and not just one of many, give that extra ounce. It might just be the one that all the others don't. Gatorade, rehydrate.
While other insurance companies just see a house, we see the home you've worked really hard for.
Allergies can hold you back. Break through with Allegra 5-in-1 Relief. It starts working in 1 hour. Relief lasts 24 hours, and it's non-drowsy. Break through allergies with Allegra 5-in-1 Relief.
If time is a measure of how good something is, then Evan Williams Bourbon has something really good going. Seriously good. Since 1783, Evan Williams has proven one thing, that a good bourbon is a smooth bourbon. Many years and many barrels later, people are still reaching for the smoothness of Evan Williams. That means something, doesn't it? Evan Williams, seriously good bourbon. And for more of a good thing, try the smooth flavor of Evan Williams Honey.
Major League Baseball wants to see your best plays this summer, whether they're in the backyard or on the diamond. Show us what you've got on social with hashtag MLBThePlay, and we'll feature some of the best all season long. The injured Bryce Harper, a couple of weeks after suffering that knee injury, that severe bone bruise, and Dusty Baker says, yeah, he's making progress. He's walking around right now, but it's not like they have a timetable right now for when Harper can return. Obviously, they hope it's before the playoffs begin, maybe even with enough time to get his timing down in the last week or two of the regular season. A healthy Harper, such a big key to the Nationals' postseason hopes.
He's had so much fun, even on social media. This is Bryce Harper Baseball. I miss you.
That's awesome.
Oh, gosh. And he's been pretty hilarious. Like, you think about, obviously, he's got a little more time on his hands.
A lot more time.
But showing the personality, which I love. And we've talked about it with the jerseys and all the different things. But to see one of the stars kind of have a little fun with how much he misses the game.
Some pretty legit numbers right there that he was putting up before the injury.
Yeah, baseball misses him. Those numbers.
Jose Lobaton leads off the inning and pops one up for the first down.
Guys, through the years, I've had hitters tell me that the back leg, which is the injured leg for Harper, his left leg is so crucial to hitting. What's the biggest challenge for him coming back?
The biggest challenge, if you look at the weight that he has to put on the back leg, and I'm telling you, I've had already 4 surgeries on my right knee. That was my push-off leg. I struggled with anything middle away, and I think that's going to be the issue. Pitches middle away, you can, yes, cheat to the inside part, but being able to get to the outside part and use your legs and drive the ball the other way, I think might be the biggest thing with his injury, the deep bone bruise that he has.
I think that's a difference, though, the bone bruise versus the ligament. I've torn my MCL. My left leg is a left-handed hitter, and I think when you're talking more ligament damage, I think that's when you're a lot more skeptical in coming back. But I think the fact that his ligaments were intact, even you look at the injury and what it did and the bone bruise, and as long as he's not in pain, I think he's going to be just fine. I think that's why they're waiting and making sure and waiting longer, because they can.
Roark fouls one right off the mask of Plawecki.
No, that's a direct hit.
Wow. It looks painful live. It looks even worse in slow motion. And, you know, we take for granted how many times that happens to a catcher. And concussion's such a big part of the game, and Plawecki seems to be just fine. No reason to suspect anything. But boy, they take a beating back there. Not an easy job.
2-2.
And Roark rounds out 2 down. Well, we talked a little bit about Bryce Harper. The Nationals hoping to get him back. Trey Turner could be back Tuesday. Jason Worth later in the week. If everybody is healthy, potentially this is something like the Nationals lineup could look in the postseason. Look at the incredible versatility, depth, and talent in that lineup.
And the perseverance that you have in a few hitters in that lineup. Daniel Murphy, Jason Worth, these are guys that go deep into counts, make it really difficult for you. Then you have the power right in the middle, the ability to know how to drive in runs. It's a headache for opposing pitchers.
Now, if you don't like that lineup, our producer Jeff Dufine put it together so you can tweet at him. He's a bit of a control freak, so he doesn't run things by us. He just likes to throw stuff up on the screen and then see what happens. So, you know, maybe they split the lefties up, and who knows, but Jeff Dufine, he's the guy.
Come after him.
Top of the order, De Aza thinking about bunting his way aboard. Pulled the bat back, and he took ball 1.
I have a feeling somewhere in Palm Beach right now, Adam Eden is saying, wait a second,
that's right.
I am training hard to be back. I am going to get back.
Well, Adam, you can tweet at Jeff Dufine. Diaz are really choking up. Another breaking ball. And in on his hands just a bit. Fly ball to left field. And that's the inning. 3 up, 3 down go the Nats. 2-0 Washington at the end of 5.
Jason just got dumped, but he's comforting himself with seasoned beef, hearty potatoes, and warm nacho cheese sauce. Bye, Jenny. Taste the comfort with the new $1 beefy potato-rito, only at Taco Bell.
If someone wanted to take out Kingsman, then they've got to be planning something major.
Some kind of underworld organization, the Golden Circle.
Say goodbye to the Kingsmen.
Got a bit of a save the world situation here.
We follow the Doomsday Protocol.
Let's get started.
That'll make you want to slap your mama.
Kingsman, the Golden Circle, rated R, September 22nd.
When kids are coming into my classroom, they know that Mr. Jackson is the rapping teacher. We call it the remainder. That's the number that remains. Technology is a huge piece of education. Using the pen for the first time on the Windows 10 PC is great. I'm able to highlight different rhyme schemes. I can actually see my lines when I'm shading in. I can change the weight, drawing directly on my screen. I couldn't do this on my Mac. I can definitely see the future happening. I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit.
What if we could stream live sports, our favorite shows and TV channels, with no annual contracts or surprise fees? What if we could watch live TV on our favorite devices? What if we could get the TV experience we always wanted? What if we never again had to ask, what if? TV has changed. It's time to change how we get it. This is PlayStation Vue. Start your free trial today.
PlayStation.
We go to the 6th inning here in Washington. The Nationals lead the Mets 2-0. Let's take a look at tonight's confident performance brought to you by Quicken Loans.
We talked about it off the top. Tanner Roark, 4 pitches working for him tonight. That 2-seam fastball. Watch him front door it to the lefties. He backdoor it to the righties. And then that curveball, that top to bottom action, and his slider. The change of speeds and the depth, and then the changeup. This is a guy, he's not going to blow it by you, but he utilizes his 4 pitches so well. We've seen it with that 2-seamer. The curveball has been sensational tonight, and then the slider and the changeup all working well for him.
Because of a relatively high pitch count through 5, as well as he's pitching, he might not be able to get quite as deep into this game as he would like as he opens up the 6th inning. with his 88th pitch of the night, facing a pinch hitter in Matt Reynolds, who comes on to hit for Smoker, the pitcher. Reynolds hitting in the 9 spot, Reyes and Lagares to follow. There's that crossfire you were talking about earlier, really pronounced on that pitch.
Well, it's where he sets up too. He's on the third base side of the rubber. We're seeing more guys obviously go to that crossfire, but that's just something he relies on top of the stuff we just showed with his pitches.
Mike Maddox, the pitching coach for the Nationals, looking on. Been around a while. Been thought of for a long time as one of the best at his craft in the game. And a breaking ball grounded to short. One down. It's tennis's final major of the year. The U.S. Open begins play tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. And then the coverage continues on ESPN2 at 6 Eastern. And as always, you can also watch every match streaming live on the ESPN app. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN with Eduardo Perez, Jessica Mendoza, Buster Olney. I'm Dan Schulman. The Nationals and the Mets in the second game of a day-night doubleheader. The Mets winning earlier today 6-5. The Nationals leading here 2-0. The Nationals in control in their division. They are 11.5 games ahead of the Marlins, who are surging. They won again today, and if you missed it earlier, we showed it earlier. Giancarlo Stanton hit his 50th home run of the season today. The Marlins probably don't have any kind of a shot to catch the Nationals, but they're trying to make a run in that wild card race, making it interesting, trying to gain some ground on Arizona and Colorado, who both won today, as did Milwaukee. The top 4 teams in the wild card race in the NL all were victorious today.
Well, the Marlins should be already here in Washington. They will be playing a 3-game series starting tomorrow against the Nationals. Not a team you want to face if you're the Nationals. Especially the way Giancarlo Stanton hits the ball here in this ballpark. Loves hitting here.
He's making every ballpark look pretty small right now. Teddy Roosevelt looking on here in Washington. Chopper over the mound, and Reyes with his second hit of the night.
This is all we're seeing off of Tanner Roark tonight. If you're going to hit him, showed his pitches. And you see this one running away from the bat of Reyes. He kind of pulls off of it a little bit, but he's able to kind of just poke it up the middle. And this is his second hit of the night, but both soft contact, just putting the ball in play. Roark dealing. If you try to muscle up and drive it off him, you're not going to have a lot of success. Shorten up and poke it through, and you will.
Reyes with a stolen base earlier tonight, his 15th of the season.
Last time he stole it off Roark, so Roark trying to keep him close. Lobaton did not have a good throw at all, trying to rush it after Reyes had a really good jump.
Shows bunt, and he takes down and in. A couple of pretty good base stealers over there. That's Tom Goodwin, the first base coach for the Mets. He could fly back in his days.
To Fresno State.
Bulldogs.
Pretty healthy lead. Lined into left center field. This is a base hit, and it's going to get all the way to the fence. Reyes is on his way to third. Will get the wave. He will score without a throw on a double by Lagares that has the Mets on the board.
Here you go. Well, an 82-mile-per-hour off-speed pitch. Juan Lagares pitch up in the zone, did not miss it at all. Stays right through it. Hits it into the left center field gap. staying on it. The more you see the pitcher, the easier it gets. We see it with Reyes, and now Legares staying right through it beautifully. This is the guy that they wanted and they expected a few years ago when he won the Gold Glove, to stay consistent, to stay healthy, and be able to go gap to gap. They didn't want the power. They wanted the contact, and right there he shows a shade of what the Mets expected out of him.
So a run in for the Mets. The tying run at second with 1 out here in the 6th inning. And Roark with a runner at second. He wants to talk to his catcher Lobaton. Probably going to change up the signs here as Nimmo comes to the plate.
Eduardo, you were talking about the Marlins and how hot they are, and the Nationals don't want to play them. I was looking at the season on a 100-win pace. That's how hot the Marlins are right now behind Giancarlo Stanton.
4.5 back at the second wild card spot. And the Marlins do have a series left against both Arizona and Colorado before the end of the year. On the road, they will go to Phoenix and will go to Denver.
You mean to tell me Giancarlo Stanton has yet to go to Denver? Oh my!
Buckle up.
Hi, Papa.
Yeah. Those outfielders will have their heels on the warning track when he comes up. His 50th home run of the season today. And there was another record set today. If you haven't heard of Rhys Hoskins, a rookie with the Philadelphia Phillies, hit his 11th home run today in just his 18th game in the big leagues. That is an all-time record. Nobody, and we've talked about Stanton and Judge and Sanchez and all the things that have happened the last couple of years, nobody's ever done that. Here's a ball crushed. Center field, deep, gone. Nimmo hits it out, a 2-run shot, and the Mets have the lead.
How many home runs is this smiling man running? Zero, and he is running. Now he has 1. You saw the smile, the grin, love it. I really do. You rarely see players show that much emotion running around the bases.
He looked like a little leaguer.
It was wonderful, and it was loud. Mislocation, wanted to set up inside, instead leaked over. He drilled that one.
First of the season, second career home run for Brandon Nimmo.
That's what we've seen from the little leaguers the last 2 weeks, is that big grin, that huge emotional, just yeah. First one of the season. Tie the game up, or take the lead.
Show me those pearly whites.
Smiling too big for them to even think about giving him the silent treatment in the dugout. Well, so the Mets turned a 2-run deficit into a 1-run lead in a hurry here in the 6th inning. After Roark had been dominant through the first 5.
You guys saw that emotion with Nimmo. It's apparently something that is constant, because when I was around the batting cage yesterday and watching the Mets, they were giving him a hard time throughout. He's just laughing each round.
Well, he knows this is a good opportunity for him.
I'll be there all night. Batting third in the lineup, no home runs. Come in and get your first one.
Hanging curveball hit a long way to left field by Flores, but caught on the track by De Aza.
This ball looked like it was going to be out off the bat. Dan, you said it, curveball way up in the zone, and we've seen Roark now flatten out a lot of his pitches, but De Aza doing a nice job, not only traveling a long way to get to this ball, but the warning track, coming up on the wall, knowing where he's at, home stadium. Good job of getting that catch.
So 2 down in the inning, and here's Dominic Smith 0 for 2 on a couple of strikeouts. One swinging, one looking.
Now this is a curious at bat for me to see how Dominic Smith will be able to make an in-game adjustment. As the bullpen starts warming up.
Matt Albers throwing for the Nationals. What kind of an adjustment are you talking about, Dave?
Well, Roark has gone away early in the count. And then late, once he's ahead, he starts going in. He struck him out on a curveball down and in the first time. Tried to do it the second time in the at-bat. Was able to foul it off. And instead, he came with that front door two-seam fastball to freeze him. That's the pitch right there where he'll struggle on a little bit. He has to show that he can hit it.
He can't stop smiling.
I mean, he's like laughing, smiling, just like little kid, giggly. So pumped.
Ground ball right side to end the inning. But what an inning it is for the Mets, especially for Brandon Nimmo. Cannot wipe the smile off his face. His first home run of the season, second of his big league career, and he's enjoying it.
Touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you, sweet Caroline. Good times never seem so good. So good! So good!
Make your commute a little sweeter in the newly redesigned Hyundai Sonata, our best Sonata ever.
No 2 allergy days feel the same. With Nasacort, even on your worst days, there's relief. Unlike antihistamines that stop just one cause of nasal allergy symptoms, Nasacort stops more. So no matter what kind of allergy day you're having, relief is yours with Nasacort.
Mike and I are both veterans, both served in the Navy. I do outrank my husband, not just being in the military, but at home.
She thinks she's the boss. She only had me by 1 grade. We bought our first home together in 2010.
His family had used another insurance product, but I was like, I've had USAA for a while. Why don't we call and check the rates?
It was instant savings, and I should have changed a long time ago.
There's no point in looking elsewhere, really. We're the Tennies, and we're USAA members for life.
USAA. Get your insurance quote today.
I don't want to make it tough. I just want to tell you that I've had enough. It might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, 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 bye. 5 calories, no artificial sweeteners, and taste amazing. Bye.
Monday Night Football is back. Saints Vikings at 6:55. Chargers Broncos at 10:15. September 11th on ESPN.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Infinity. Empower the drive. And Kingsman, The Golden Circle, in theaters and IMAX September 22nd. Abe Lincoln, the winner here tonight in Washington. Weekdays on ESPN2 at 4 Eastern. It's Intentional Talk with Chris Rose and Kevin Millar. 1 hour breakdown of baseball's hottest topics. You can also see it streaming live on the ESPN app. We go bottom 6 here in Washington. We got some changes for the Mets. Wilmer Flores has moved from third base to first base. Matt Reynolds, who pinch hit, stays in the game at third. And the new pitcher for the Mets is right-hander Hansel Robles. He pitched in the first game of the doubleheader. Faced 2 batters and struck them both out. So Dom Smith is out of the game for the Mets. And find themselves leading 3-2 now after that home run by Nimmo in the top half. Wilmer Defoe leads it off for the Nationals.
See how effective Robles was, because he did pitch earlier today. Quick turnaround for him.
And a ground ball base hit into center. Nimmo wore that smile on his face for several minutes in the dugout. Back to serious business now in the outfield.
He's got a little hop in his step, though.
Seriously, how is his nickname not finding? And it's Nims.
Eduardo, I think we might have something coming for you on that regard.
Leadoff man aboard for the Nationals. Here's Daniel Murphy. Had a base hit his last time up. The former Met, 1 for 2 on the night. Defoe with pretty good speed. And Murphy looked like he was taken all the way, like he might want to look at a pitch there from Robles as he looked at a strike. As you said, Jess, though, he's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes on. Not afraid to get deep into a count.
See the confidence he has in taking pitches early in the count because of it. Hand-eye coordination. And just how late that last swing was. For him to recognize this pitch is off speed. Wait, see, is this going to be a strike, and then swing. I mean, that ball was almost caught by Plawecki behind the plate. Which is what you have to do when you recognize a off-speed pitch. Wait.
0-2.
It was 0-2 in his last at-bat. He took a close pitch for ball 1, and then wound up hitting a breaking ball into right field for a base hit on the 1-2 pitch. Line to left center field, but caught by Nimmo, and racing back to first is Defoe. Pretty good wood, though, from Murphy on an 0-2 pitch.
Well, especially when you think about where the pitch is located after he fouls off a breaking ball low in the zone, and then he gets this elevated fastball. Watch her just get his hands. And this is what I like, Dan, about his 2-strike approach. So short, so simple. It's a tough pitch to handle with 2 strikes, especially when he just saw one breaking below the knee. But look at how simple he stays with his swing.
Robles got lucky. That pitch leaked over the plate. That pitch was supposed to be hard up and in. Wasn't even meant to be swung at. Just a setup for the next pitch.
So allowed a first out, and here's Anthony Rendon, 2 for 2. Drove in a run with a base hit his last time up.
The more I see Defoe play, the more I like him. Has a lot of energy on the defensive side and also running the bases. This team is all about base running, also something that a lot of people don't talk about, and Davey Lopes has a lot to do with it, the first base coach.
If you were putting together an all-star team of coaches, would the first base coach be Davey Lopes?
No doubt. No doubt it would be Davey Lopes. He's had an impact in LA, San Diego, here, wherever he goes, he has an impact. We saw it earlier. They stole a run. How did they do it? Murphy went from first to third. Aggressive secondary leads.
Dan, you talked about it earlier with Trey Turner and the amount of stolen bases that he's had. And yeah, he's fast, okay? But the confidence that he's gained from Davey Lopes to be able to understand when to go, how to go, what to look for, the jumps that he's gotten to be able to capitalize when they get Turner back. That's another one, along with Defoe.
Back when Lopes was with the Phillies, they led the major leagues in stolen base percentage 5 consecutive years. Base stealing, base running. And Defoe's upset with himself. He thought about it, put the brakes on. The ball was in the dirt. Plawecki couldn't come up with it cleanly, and Defoe knows he could be standing on second.
Well, it's about pitch selection also right here. He's supposed to go, but takes that fake lead, and he had a really good jump. Pitch in the dirt. Would have made it.
See if Rendon has the green light here, 3-0. High strike, 3-1.
Type of hitter Anthony Rendon is right here. Expect Defoe to go. Down 1. Anything in the gap, he would score.
Not going, and it's lifted in the air down the right field line, heading back out of play.
You know, through the years, I've had great conversations with base runners about Davey as a first base coach. And they mentioned that Davey at times will get frustrated with the runner and look at him like, what are you still doing here? Just go. Don't you see it? And he encourages them in that manner.
Sometimes tough for his pupils, his students, to see things maybe as well as he did. He was a really good base runner and base stealer back in his day. Really good player. Part of some great Dodgers teams. Well, you got to believe Defoe's going here at 3-2. 1 on, 1 out, 1-run game in the 6th. Has not really lengthened out his lead much at all. There he goes. Pitch is ball 4, so don't worry about what's happened down at second. There you can see the second base umpire, Bill Welke, looking into home plate and saying, that's ball 4, right? Because if it is, I'm not going to make a call.
Right, and I do not blame Plawecki at all for throwing this ball to second, because he's already called, that's Alan Porter behind the plate, has already called this pitch a couple times in this game. This time against Anthony Rendon, does not call it. This pitch, you see it right outside the K zone. Couple inches away, but that pitch has been called tonight.
So 2 on for the Nationals now with a 1 out. And the pitching coach Dan Warthen of the Mets out to the mound to talk with Robles. Gives us an opportunity to take a look at Buster's poll question of the week. Buster, walk us through this.
Yeah, what struggling team of 2017 is most likely to rebound in 2018? I give 5 teams: Blue Jays, Giants, Mets, Orioles, and Tigers. And the winner, the New York Mets, 39%, the Giants 25%, the Orioles 15%, the Tigers 11%, the Blue Jays 10%, Dan.
Who would you guys pick?
I liked the Giants, and then the more I started to think about it as far as how much money they have to free up compared to the Mets. I mean, think about it. Even if the Mets pitching is just reasonably healthy, plus Cespedes, Conforto, now Dom Smith, Rosario, I just think they have a better chance than those teams listed because of what that pitching. And I know that's been the Mets story now for 3 years, but I really believe that they are going to get healthy. Maybe not every single one of them, but shoot, give me 3 of them, and I'd take that team.
Eddie?
It's the if factor. Again, if, as you said, the pitching is healthy, I still believe this is a team that can compete. The Mets, that is. The Orioles are the team that they can outslug anyone, and that's a scary team also. They get a couple pitchers via the trade or via the free agency, they're back in it also.
And it can happen quick. Look at the year Arizona had last year. Look at the year Arizona's having this year. How much they've turned it around.
And you got to believe that the Mets are going to go and add a little bit. You know, they've freed up some big guys, some money. I think it's $15 million in the trades that they've made in just the last month. And I know that that's going to allow them to at least give them a little bit more, which they have to do. Yeah, it's nice to have these young guys, but they need some more hitters and some more better defense behind these pitchers.
With Duda, Granderson, Walker, Bruce, all of them traded. A lot of money coming off the payroll. They still owe Yoenis Cespedes a lot of money. $29 million per year for 3 more years. Reyes is a free agent at the end of the year. The Mets are barely paying him. Colorado's still paying Reyes almost his whole contract. So if the Mets choose to go out and spend, they've got money to play with. But I'm sure you guys do too. I have some friends who are Mets fans. It's a tough lot being a Met fan. It seems at times. You know, in the good times it's great, but in the bad times it can be tough. And you wonder, are they going to be in play for, you know, a Lorenzo Cain or a Mike Moustakas and Eric? Well, we're talking all about the Royals. Eric Hosmer. I mean, there are a lot of potential free agents coming from Kansas City. Will they go after a catcher? What will they do in the offseason? Will they try to get back in the hunt next year, or will they truly commit to all the young players they have?
Will Stanton go anywhere? I mean, that's a big question mark right there. Obviously, the Marlins, he is the star, but when I think about the Giants, when I think about the Mets, you know, and especially San Francisco, they might not have the money to be able to free up to get him, but what does the San Francisco Giants lack right now? Power. Stan do it one.
They like a lot of things. They like power. They like speed also. It's a different game in San Francisco.
Lind will take a walk that'll load the bases. Let's look at the players the Mets have traded. All of this in the last few weeks. Duda to Tampa Bay, Reed to Boston, Bruce to Cleveland, Walker to Milwaukee, Granderson to the Dodgers. A lot of guys who are a big part of the identity of the Mets are now all in pennant races with other teams. They saved a lot of money and get a lot of big contracts ending this year. So a lot of payroll freed up. Nobody knows if Terry Collins will be back next year. We talked about Dusty Baker. Both of these managers, and by the way, they're the two oldest managers in baseball, both 68 years of age. Both of these managers, their contracts are up at the end of the year. Michael Taylor, fly ball and a strikeout, 0 for 2. Great chance here for the Nationals to try to retake the lead. Tried to check it, and he succeeded. Ball 1. The inning began with a base hit by Wilmer Defoe after Daniel Murphy flied out to left. Rendon walked, and then Lind walked to load him up. Again.
This was the concern early. He pitched in the first game today. Came into the 5th inning through 12 pitches, was effective. Was effective down and in the corners. Now we're seeing him miss up. Already on his 18th pitch of this inning.
Chasing Bradford to getting loose in a hurry.
You mean Black Bear?
That's Black Bear. They got Brown Bear and Black Bear. And Robles, he's in no rush right now. I don't know if he's worried about something or contemplating what to throw. What are the 3 rules of pitching are work fast, change speeds, throw strikes? He's not working fast and he's not throwing strikes. So changing speeds, even if he's doing it, which he's not, isn't helping him much now. He's in a world of trouble right now. Nowhere to put Taylor. There's a strike.
And this is the predicament that you put yourself in when in the first game Malone only goes 4 1/3 innings. This game, Seth Lugo only goes 3+ innings.
Ball 4, tie game. And the end of the night for Robles. 3 straight walks, and the last one forces in the tying run. Bradford coming in, 3-3 tie, bottom 6.
Howdy. Hey. Here we go. Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
That's not your car.
Car's ready.
Wrong car.
Is not your car? I would love to take it, but no. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. You guys want to check it out?
Someone else's car.
This is beautiful. What is this?
It's the all-new Chevy Equinox.
This feels like a luxury SUV.
I love this little 360. How do they even do that?
I made a bad decision on my last car purchase.
Well, your car's here.
Bummer. Bummer.
Wah, wah. I'm ready for an upgrade.
Need help calling the right play on game day? Call me at the Gruden Hotline. Gruden Hotline.
Coach, I'm decorating for game day.
Decorating what, with like streamers?
And balloons.
Really?
Yeah, like I said, I'm decorating.
It's a game, not an office party. You got Coronas, you're good. Trust me.
Streamers and balloons.
All right, then.
Find your beats this game day. Call the Gruden Hotline, and you could win the opportunity to hang out with Coach on the set of Gruden's QB Camp.
It's 6 a.m.
40 million Americans are waking up to a Gillette shave. And at our factory in Boston, 1,200 workers are starting their day building on over 100 years of heritage, craftsmanship, and innovation. Today, we're bringing you America's #1 shave at lower prices every day, putting money back in the pockets of millions of Americans. As one of those workers, I'm proud to bring you Gillette quality for less, because nobody can beat the men and women of Gillette. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN is presented by Taco Bell. Tomorrow night, Monday Night Baseball, the Cleveland Indians, the division leaders in the American League Central, and the New York Yankees, who lead the American League wild card race. And if you like pitching, you'll like tomorrow. Corey Kluber having a great year, and Luis Severino, who on any given night can be virtually unhittable at times. Kluber got to be in the Cy Young conversation, and one reason he is because his buddies, his teammates, they keep beating up on Chris Sale every time that Sale faces the Indians, which has been twice in the last month. The Indians have scored, I think, 13 runs off Sale in the 2 starts. Other than that, Sale's had a magnificent season. Jason Bradford in for the Mets. Remember, though, Boston and Cleveland look very likely to play each other in a division series, and that means if that happens, obviously Chris Sale would be the Game 1 starter against the Indians, so keep that in mind. There's Andrew Stevenson to face the new pitcher for the Mets, Jason Bradford, who has tossed 11 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings coming into this game here tonight. But he has no margin for error. Bases loaded, 1 out. Stevenson 0 for 2. I don't know if there's anything more frustrating for a manager than relief pitchers who aren't throwing strikes. It's only been 2 pitches, but Terry Collins just saw a whole lot of it from Robles. 3 walks, 1 of them forcing in the tying run. Great grab.
Well, then how much fun it is for an opposing hitter to know that you're ahead in the count constantly and you're able to find the zone that you want, have the confidence to lay off anything else.
Rendon at third now. A potential go-ahead run. Lind is at second. Taylor's at first. Just 1 out. Just missed. 3-1.
And staying away. That one leaked on the inside part of the plate. K-Zone had it as a strike, but missing location. Alan Porter did not give it. Outfield playing Stevenson to hit it the other way.
And another walk forces in another run.
Stevenson showing patience in that at bat. Granted, none of those pitches except ball 3 were close enough to be called. With the bases loaded, you see a lot of young players expand the zone, trying to do so much, but he stayed within himself.
First career RBI for Stevenson. It comes on a bases loaded walk, and here's Howie Kendrick to come up as a pinch hitter for Jose Lobaton. Dusty Baker awfully happy to have a quality veteran professional hitter like Kendrick, a versatile guy defensively. Came up as an infielder, a second baseman. He's in the last couple of years played a lot of outfield, can play left, can play some right if they need him there, and just a guy who gives you a good at bat.
Well, he's been hot too. When you look at his numbers, even just in the month of August, since coming over to the Nationals and the at-bats that he's been able to bring, and not even so much the power that's there too, but just good quality at-bats with runners in scoring position at a time when the Nats, we've talked about it, a lot of injured big bats. Kendrick filled that hole very well.
Matt Wieters out in the on-deck circle in the pitcher spot. I knew he was coming into game one way or the other, with Lobaton being pitch hit for here by Kendrick. Ground ball to third, step on the bag one, and on to first, double play to end the inning. So it was bad for the Mets. It could have been worse. 4 walks in the inning, 2 of them forced in runs. Washington has the lead, but the Mets turn the double play to make sure they're down only 1.
It's time for the biggest sale of the year with the new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed. It senses and automatically adjusts on both sides. The new 360 Smart Bed is part of our biggest sale of the year, where all beds are on sale. And right now, save 50% on the Labor Day limited edition bed.
At Bridgestone, our engineers want to help make sure you're not stuck on the side of the road. To prove it, we brought in some professional archers. Our revolutionary drive guard tires are engineered to take a puncture and drive up to 50 miles.
Ready to go.
Watch our latest Archer demo at BridgestoneTire.com.
Ooh, let's go visit the Javelin team. Now through October 8th, buy 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and you can get a $70 Visa prepaid card by mail. Plus, you can get up to $100 when you use your CFNA credit card account.
It ain't no lie, baby. Buy.
5 calories, no artificial sweeteners, and taste amazing. Bye.
Hey, Mom.
Hey. Hey.
The moment you realize it's time to start sharing the load, literally.
At Lowe's, we have brands like Whirlpool that make doing laundry a chore anyone can handle. The Whirlpool intuitive touch controls take the guesswork out by simply asking what and how. All projects have a starting point.
What?
Start with Lowe's.
Hurry into Lowe's and get up to 40% off select appliance special values.
This is a story about mail and packages, and it's also a story about people. And while we make more e-commerce deliveries to homes than anyone else in the country, we never forget that your business is our business. The United States Postal Service. Priority, you.
Megan's smile is getting a lot of attention. That's because she goes beyond brushing with ACT mouthwash. ACT freshens breath and strengthens enamel, protects teeth from harmful acids, and helps prevent cavities. Protect your smile every day. Go beyond brushing with ACT.
Commemorate this inaugural Players Weekend at MLBShop.com with unlimited edition jerseys and tees featuring player-picked nicknames. Wear the gear the players are wearing tonight and have worn on field all weekend. Available while supplies last at MLBShop.com. We go to the 7th inning here at Washington. A couple of changes for the Nationals. Matt Wieters will come in to catch. And the new pitcher for the Nats is right-hander Matt Albers.
Matt Albers has been as consistent as you can ask early on in the season. You see right there, ERA of 1.8, strikeouts 54, 16 walks in 50 games, whip under 1 at .9. With all the struggles that the bullpen had early on, he was that bright spot here for the Nats.
And they did have struggles. They made a number of changes in an effort to bolster that bullpen.
Big changes, huge. Going out and getting Sean Doolittle, Ryan Madsen,
Brandon Kinsler. Matt Albers is one of 9 Nationals relievers to record a save this year. 9 different relievers.
They had 14 blown saves until those trades were made. They've only had 1 since, and that was probably the biggest thing. It was just a team so good, so much depth, the offense, the starting pitching, but oh my goodness, the bullpen. And not even every, we saw a lot of really good guys in the 7th and 8th inning. It was that 9th inning spot. You'd move a guy like Coda Glover or Matt Albers, whoever it was like a bad case of just you could not close down the game.
There's Sean Doolittle with a beard. He's doing a lot of the closing right now for the Nationals. Ryan Madson's on the DL. Coda Glover's on the DL. Sounds like Madsen might be a little bit closer than Glover, hoping to get both back before the end of the season. There's a ground ball to third. And Tyrone is retired. Well, let's back up what Jess was saying with some numbers. ERA over 5 through the middle of July, under 4 since, and a much better save percentage in the last 6 weeks or so.
And I feel like that's been the biggest thing is the numbers aren't perfect. They don't have the best bullpen in the National League, but they're a lot better than they were. And more importantly, they're winning the games they need to win. They're able to close out the games. There's nothing worse than handing over a lead when it's Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg and Gio Gonzalez and then giving it up in the back end.
And it's changed the dynamic of that bullpen. I mean, just the attitude itself, going over there wondering who is going to be the guy that is going to blow it. Instead, now they know who is going to be the guy that's going to save it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big difference. It's just such a ravenous attitude that they do have in that bullpen right now.
Is it good enough to win them a World Series?
I believe so, because they have that offense. You look at what they have right now, they can do it. Again, they have a great offense. They have great starting pitching. And the starting pitching is what's going to ride them. They're not like the Kansas City Royals were a few years back where the starters would go 5 innings. No, not with Scherzer, not with Gio Gonzalez.
I don't know. I mean, it's a darn good team, and of course anything can happen in the postseason, but when we've seen teams that have been successful, it's because they've had not just a one closer shutdown guy, but they've had 2 or 3 that they can manipulate and move all over in the entire back end of a game. And I don't know if the Nationals have proven that these guys will see when Madsen comes back how he's utilized.
There's a base hit into center field off the bat of Plawecki.
Couldn't see your glove.
Now here were the 3 pickups for the Nationals midseason to help improve that bullpen. A couple of them came from Oakland, one of them from Minnesota. Right now, as we mentioned, Doolittle doing most of the closing. If all 3 are healthy and pitching well, what order would you guys see them pitching in the postseason?
Kinsler, Madsen, Doolittle.
Same.
You look at it the way Brandon Kinsler, which has 29 saves on the season, all of them with the Twins, he's a contact pitcher. Gets the ball on the ground, throws a lot of strikes. You bring him in the 7th inning, then you can bring in Madsen when healthy in the 8th, and then Sean Doolittle in the 9th inning, which loves to pitch up in the zone as a left-handed pitcher, a rare breed, challenging guys with his fastball.
But it's interesting. I mean, Dusty Baker utilized for the first time Sean Doolittle in the 8th against the Astros last week. It didn't work out. Now that doesn't mean that it won't ever work out, but that's something I want to keep an eye on as we see kind of like how they utilize the bullpen, because I think in this day and age it's important to have a closer that in case you get that high leverage situation in the 7th or 8th inning, I want to see if Sean Doolittle can be that guy that can go in not just in the 9th and close it down, but maybe more importantly in an 8th inning scenario where they need him the most.
Guy Sean Doolittle told me a funny story yesterday about the moment that he learned he was going to be traded. He had heard about the rumors, and he was called into Bob Melvin's office, and he walked in. He saw Dave Forst, who serves as general manager for Oakland. He said, "Where?" And he said, "Washington, and you're going to take Madsen with you." And for Sean Doolittle, it was split emotions. He loved Oakland, but he also loves being in a pennant race.
Slice down the right field line, a foul. Well, and you knew Washington was going to do something in July, that they had to do something.
Well, and knowing that the big dogs weren't out there. I mean, think about it. Last year, Aroldis Chapman, Andrew Miller, Mark Melanson. I mean, there were big-time closers up for grabs for teams to come and get. That wasn't the case this year. It was a matter of getting more than one. And I think the Nats did it right in getting Madsen as well, along with Kinsler, to add to Sean Doolittle.
Albers generally pitching earlier in games, 6th inning, 7th inning, has had a very good year. And strike 3 called over the outside corner to get Cecchini for the 2nd out.
Cecchini right there. Just saw some art by Albers. You look at right there in the corner. Picasso style, 96, hitting all paint. Great action, late action, gave up on it. Weeder selling it, and Porter calling it. Great pitch.
2 down for Reynolds. Came on as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning. Stayed in the game at third base. Tying run at first with 2 down here in the 7th. The Mets winning the opener with a doubleheader, the day part of the doubleheader, 6-5. And Amed Rosario home run in the 8th inning, the difference in that game. And gets the benefit of the call. That one might have been a couple of inches outside, but it's a strike called on Reynolds.
That's that 2-seam fastball, and we saw it earlier with Tanner Roark. Saw it a little bit too with Seth Lugo when he was good the first 3 innings. It's that pitch that starts away, runs back over the plate.
You know, it brings to mind a conversation that we had earlier today at breakfast, actually, about the strike zone. And Buster, I know you're big on this. Rob Manfred said this week that he thinks at some point that technology is going to take over the strike zone. You think this is a significant announcement made by the commissioner this week?
Yeah, it actually was surprised that it didn't get more publicity because it definitely signals a shift from what he said earlier in the year when he talked about this being something that was further away and was not something that was close. And he basically was saying it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And look, I've had conversations with players who've been Major League Baseball's trying to improve the pace of play conversation and talking to them about a pitch clock. And some players have told me they want in return for that something they'd be open to, be an electronic strike zone.
Sharply hit it into center field, a base hit for Reynolds. Plawecki stops at 7. What do you guys think? Do you think it's coming soon, and are you in favor of it?
I love it. Absolutely love it. And I think, you know, Rob Manfred and being able to just communicate we had him last week in the booth and just talking about his conversations with players. And this is something, whether you're a fan, I'm not saying every player is going to love it, but it's truth. And it's not perfect, but it's a lot more perfect than what we have right now, because nothing beats the calibration of what you're able to see. Ball, strike, end of story, no arguing. That's the call.
I get it. I understand. I just wish that the strike zone itself would be just a little bit wider. And because if not, these games are going to last a lot more. Everybody talks about pace of game. This will slow down the pace of game. Yes, there won't be a lot of argument, but now the pitchers really have to be perfect. That corner that's been called tonight, you don't see that called though. If not, and those are hittable pitches. Hitters can really control the bat zone really well and be able to hit it to the opposite field or get the hands inside.
So you'd want it a little wider.
I would like just a little wider.
So you're okay with it if it's an electronic strike zone, if they widen it a little bit,
just widen it a little bit. I'm okay.
Do you think, in your time as a player or a coach in the big leagues, did you ever have significant conversations about that? Was that ever on the table as far as you're aware?
The technology wasn't there.
Yeah.
This is all about the technology being there. You still need that umpire behind the plate to control the pace.
It would be a huge change to the game.
Oh.
You know, something like catchers framing pitches. That's gone. That wouldn't exist anymore.
Well,
right?
and then the way that you look for the type of catchers that you want.
Reyes with a bouncer to short. Close play at second, but they'll force the runner to end the inning. 7th inning stretch in Washington with the Nationals leading the Mets 4-3.
How was your vacation? Get a little sun?
Yeah, you're looking a little ripe there, buddy.
Yeah, very funny.
Hey, guys, what's this tomato doing at Randy's desk?
You know, that actually reminds me, Steve. I got you something when I was over there. It's just a little something that I thought you might like. Aloha.
Mangoes can get sunburned.
Put some flavor in your break with new mango tea. Make time.
Hanes wants to end the Smelfie. This thing we've all done doesn't need to be a thing.
There's a smart way to stay fresh. Hanes, with Fresh IQ advanced odor protection technology. Bonus packs.
What you just made me do.
Cannot lose with Terragorn the Brave on our side!
Apologies, my liege, but Terragorn the Brave has been captured.
And by captured, you mean?
He's at the podiatrist.
Going into battle without the best team? That's bad fantasy. Using the #1 fantasy app to draft your team from anywhere? That's good fantasy. Play the #1 fantasy football game. Sign up now at ESPN.com/goodfantasy.
Alexa, reorder Purina Beyond cat food.
Order confirmed.
Alexa, show me my baby.
Okay.
There she is.
Call from the bedroom.
Everything okay down there?
Sometimes, all it takes to reach your goal is a little assistance. Introducing new Total Body Stretch from Massage Envy. Professionally assisted stretching to help you get the results you can't achieve on your own. Total Body Stretch can help you become more flexible, more mobile, and improve your performance. Introducing new Total Body Stretch from Massage Envy. Get more out of your 7th inning stretch with the Stretto method. Massage Envy.
As King Midas, I expect things to last a long time. And so should you.
Midas has a lifetime guarantee on these parts.
That's right. On things like struts, brakes, shocks, all kinds of automobile parts. Guaranteed for life.
Does he turn everything to gold?
Brakes.
Not everything. Luckily, he's not a dog person.
At Midas, we're always a touch better with limited lifetime guarantees on select parts, complimentary courtesy checks, and more. Book an appointment at Midas.com.
Well, some big moments from a Sunday in the big leagues. Byron Buxton, known much more for his speed than his power, but he's coming around. He's starting to hit the ball with authority. He hit not one, not two. He hit 3 home runs today in Toronto. The Twins win 7-2. They remain in the second wild card spot in the American League. They were a game and a half ahead of both the Angels and the Mariners. Rhys Hoskins of the Phillies, we talked about him a little bit earlier, playing left field today for the Phils, first and second, and here's a sinking liner to left field. Hoskins makes the sliding catch. There's 1 out, there's 2 outs, there's 3 outs. The runners were confused. Was the ball dropped or not? They reviewed this play and said, yes, it was an out. And then, oh yeah, later he hit his 11th home run in his 18th game in the big leagues. Nobody ever has done that before. What a day for Rhys Hoskins.
It's amazing how many times we're saying we've never seen this before. When we talk about Aaron Judge and now Rhys Hoskins and even the Dodgers and what they're doing, but unbelievable to see him come up fastest to 11 career home runs in Major League history, 18 games. I mean, he had 10 yesterday and everyone was talking about it. And then, in fact, we were all sitting here going, he hit another, are you sure? He hit another one?
8 home runs in his last 9 games. No rookie's ever done that. Not about you guys. I mean, watching Buxton hit home runs is great. Watching him hit, did you see his inside the park home run last week?
Yes.
That might be my favorite play of the whole baseball season.
That's him in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I felt like that just encompasses the type of athlete that Byron Buxton always has been, but now the bat coming around and the way that he's been able to adjust.
Matt Wieters leads off the inning with a fly ball to right field. Playable for Tyrone.
Speaking about Buxton, the impressive part was the second home run. It was a 1-2 count. Change up stayed up, and he stayed with it. And that just tells you the development of Buxton, which has already been sent down not once, not twice, but 3 times. And this time, looks like he's here for good. 249 right now in the season after struggling the first couple months.
You know, and here we are almost into September. Sunday, August 27th today. Late August, and the Minnesota Twins are in a playoff spot. And they're going home right now for 3 against the White Sox and then 3 big games with Kansas City. Kansas City swept by Cleveland over the weekend. Paul Molitor's got them right in the hunt heading into September.
Everybody talks about run differential. It's on the negative side, but it doesn't matter. Paul Molitor, he is managing, when he's winning those games, he's managing them to his best, using the bullpen. After they traded Kinsler, it's been great.
I will say this, they're disqualified, their players, if they go on and win the World Series, from saying that no one believed in us. Yeah, that's the front office that bought Jaime Garcia, then sold him when they lost 7 in a row, and then they got back into the race. I don't want to hear that.
What are you talking about? They got Bartolo Colon.
All in.
So if the Twins win the World Series, does Jaime Garcia get a does he get a share? Does he get a full share?
Yes.
Not a full share.
Full
But
share.
He gets some, yeah.
He gets a ring.
He was there a week, right? He definitely gets a ring.
Yep.
Alejandro De Azo for 3.
It's just fun keeping an eye every day. All right, who's in on the AL wildcard? Because you pick a day and it's a different team. The Yankees have kind of held down the fort as far as the first wildcard team, but that second one, 7-8 teams all within a few games. And
guys, the Orioles. The Orioles are now back to within 2. Okay, and they're playing well. Manny Machado's red hot.
You can see the Yankees tomorrow on ESPN. They'll host the Indians. The Orioles are home. They'll open up a series with Seattle tomorrow. Baltimore just swept the Red Sox over the weekend. They'll host Seattle starting tomorrow. Tampa Bay's at Kansas City starting tomorrow. And there it is with the Twins in the second spot.
look at that. I mean, look at that.
But this is actually a little more spread out than it's been at times in recent days, and it's still crazy.
Is that you?
That's not me. I'm not in charge of the graphics. And Bradford takes a little bit off to strike out De Aza, 2 down. You know, and I think a lot of people thought when Mike Trout was injured, a lot of people said, well, that's it for the Angels are still there. Seattle went a long stretch of time with 4 of their starting pitchers on the DL. Seattle is still there.
Reminds you of Kershaw last year, Kershaw this year. Dodgers haven't missed a step.
How about Andrelton Simmons? Can I just give him some attention? We talked about Paul Goldschmidt earlier. There's a lot of these West Coast guys that, and we mentioned it with Byron Buxton. You know, a guy who plays ridiculous defense, a lot of speed. Andrelton Simmons, always that player, but the offense never consistent. Well, shoot, watching him play this year.
Second in the league in wins above replacement this year.
And oh, by the way, he's on the team with Mike Trout, so kind of gets overshadowed just a bit.
Now, to be fair, the reason all of these teams are still in it is that none of them are playing great. If you're a 500 team in the American League, you're in it right now. So in a normal season, to be in a 500 team, you'd probably be, 5, 6, 7 games out. This year, you're 1, 2, 3 games out. So, but all you got to be is one of the top 5. You just got to figure out a way.
I've been saying watch out for Baltimore for a while, and it's because of Manny Machado. Offensively, he has been on fire. They moved Adam Jones to the 4th spot. That really created a lot of length to that lineup. And it's just that the pitching has been there, but the offense has really relieved them by scoring a lot of runs, making it easier on them.
Talk about a guy that no one counted out, too. Buster, when everyone was giving up on Manny Machado, he was still singing his praises. So.
Yeah, but I got to say, when the Orioles got to the deadline, didn't trade a bunch of these guys, and I thought they should have traded Machado, I was ripping them. So.
I think I read that column.
Yep.
Yeah, you were, but you know what the difference was? They ended up getting Tim Beckham, and he has been great.
He's always on base.
He's been great since traded from the Tampa Bay Rays, where that's a team that needs offense. Beckham now in Baltimore.
That was a weird trade. Because Beckham wasn't bad for them either.
Ground ball to short, and that's the inning. Defoe retired. The Nats go in order. End of 7, a 4-3 Washington.
Thought the Chalupa couldn't get any better? Meet the Double Chalupa. Get it with a Doritos Locos Taco, a Crunchy Taco, and a medium drink. The new limited edition $5 Double Chalupa box. Love it while it lasts. Only at Taco Bell.
Maria is an incredible mom. When it comes to helping her daughter, shopping for groceries, unclogging the sink, setting up dentist appointments, and planning birthday parties, nobody does it better. She's also in a rock band. Look at her shred. But when it comes to mortgages, she's less confident. Fortunately for Maria, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's simple, so she can understand the details and be sure she's getting the right mortgage. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently.
Is this my car? State Farm knows that for every one of those moments, there's one of these.
Is this my car?
This is ridiculous!
This is ridiculous. Ah!
From car insurance to car loans, State Farm is here to help life go right.
This is our summer vacation. This is our day at the beach. This is how we cool off. And this is the new 2018 Acura TLX. Hurry to the Acura Summer Performance event for some of the most exciting offers of the year.
Lease the 2018 Acura TLX for $329 a month for well-qualified customers. Don't miss this event going on now.
Yeah, you could say I like baseball.
I'm always repping my team.
I know I'm doing my part.
My crew's all about the AL.
Word.
We're all about the NO. Am I obsessed?
Nah, I'm just a baseball fan.
You think you're a bigger fan than me? Prove it.
Prove it.
Prove it. Find all the gear you need at MLBshop.com.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN is presented by Taco Bell's new $1 beefy potato Rito, and in part by Acura's Summer of Performance event going on now. Well, this week, MLB joined forces with ESPN and the X Games to change the landscape of bullying across the country. The Shred Hate program aims to help youth stop bullying and choose kindness instead. The program launched with the X Games last winter in Colorado, working with an organization called No Bully, whose innovative curriculum is already generating incredible results.
Over 10,000 kids a year are bullied, and it gets worse and worse as years progress. Even being at Little League this last couple weeks, and the conversation in and around with Rob Manfred, and the fact that MLB is now joined with ESPN and X Games on a huge issue, and anyone who has kids knows it's a big issue. So the fact that they're now doing the Shred Hate campaign and joining forces is huge.
Eighth inning in a one-run game. The Nationals lead the Mets 4-3. And a new pitcher for Washington, a right-hander, Sean Kelly, came off the DL just over a week ago. Missed a couple of months with a trapezius muscle strain. And you can see the elevated ERA in 21 innings. And I know this is the year with a home run, but in 21 innings, guys, he's given up 11 home runs this year. But again, this is a doubleheader day, and they've got some guys on the DL, so it's all hands on deck. And Kelly certainly has a history of having some good years. Last year had a .264 ERA in 67 appearances. Picked up 7 saves a year ago for the Nationals.
Well, he's a fastball slider guy, and you're going to see that fastball kind of try to be in that same window as his slider. And Dan, when he is going well, you'll be able to see him throw that slider that he throws almost 50% of the time off of the fastball. But when that fastball starts to get elevated, starts to get flat, then that's when you see the slider not have the same effectiveness on a lot of these hitters, and the ball goes out of the park.
And a swinging bunt up the third baseline. Nobody's going to have a play. And Juan Lagares is aboard to begin the inning.
There's no defense for that right there. Swing and bunt. Backpack making a good pitch right there, inducing the soft contact just in the perfect spot. Making Lagares chase. Weeder tries to go after it. No chance. See that double he hit in the gap earlier. This time gets right on top of it. You're running to first and you're going, yes, this is good. 2 hits on the night.
So the tying run aboard to begin the 8th inning for the Mets. Trying to sweep a doubleheader today for the Nationals. And here's a guy who homered his last time up. Brandon Nimmo, his first of the season, second big league home run. And he crushed it to center field. A line drive 2-run shot.
Had a smile on his face for about an hour. Big old grin.
Yeah, speaking of the smile, how about this on Twitter? You mentioned Eduardo finding Nemo. Nemo should be his Twitter, or is in the back of his jersey. Look at that tweet. Okay, now I get it from Andrew Hartz.
Got Nims on the back of his jersey here on Players Weekend. That might be the biggest smile we've seen all season after that home run. Non-Little League division.
Right? I mean, that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of those little leaguers, those 10, 11, 12-year-olds that just, I got a hit. Did you see that? Brandon Nemo, him running around the bases. I got a home run. First of the season.
It's all right when the little kid comes out of the big kid every now and again.
Oh, it's needed. It's awesome.
You guys forgot about that game Max Scherzer had for us, right? Because he seems like he's smiling all the time.
Oh, look at that, though. 2011 first rounder out of Wyoming. How many first rounders come out of Wyoming?
And that smile stayed on his face in the dugout for the rest of the half inning until he went out and took his position on defense. Lifts a high fly ball to shallow left field for the first out.
I can just hear the Mets fans right now. Oh, great. Now he thinks he's a home run hitter.
Getting numbers. Change the launch angle.
Here's Wilmer Flores. 0 for 3, a strikeout, a couple of fly balls. Nationals will stay home and open up a series with the Miami Marlins. We talked about it. Giancarlo will bring his 50 home runs here to Washington starting tomorrow night. The Mets will begin a series in Cincinnati on Tuesday. Some Mets fans down here in the nation's capital watching their team tonight. A lot of Nationals fans are probably already thinking about, and they shouldn't overlook the Milwaukee Brewers, but I'm sure a lot of Nationals fans are probably saying pretty good chance that the Nats are going to play the Cubs. But the Brewers are only two games behind the Chicago Cubs in the National League Central.
They won't
Brewers
go
winning
away.
again today, no?
And that was a team that led that division for the first half, the majority of the time.
That's a race that is still very much alive, and St. Louis just kind of hanging around on the outskirts in both the division and the wild card race.
Yeah, they won't go away, but the Cubs are also not taking control. They've lost 3 of their last 4 playing Cincinnati and Philadelphia, of course, 2 of the worst teams in the National League.
At times in the second half since the All-Star break, the Cubs have looked much better than they did in the first half, but still have not been able to consistently separate themselves from the rest of the division.
Yeah, the Cubs go and make that trade for Jose Quintana. I felt like that was like a huge. They come out of the All-Star break, they win a bunch of games. Everyone's like, here's the Cubs, here's the team that we knew won the World Series, all the talent showing up. They just needed that starting pitching help and just have not been able to pull away, and we've really only seen glimpses of the team we saw last season.
Still 7 games left against the Cubs. That's Milwaukee. Have to hold on and play well against them. 3 in Wrigley, 4 at home, Millers Park.
Four-3 Washington here, top 8. Rutherford first, 1 out, and a 1-2 count on Flores. Ball popped up back of the plate, and no play.
Rarely see this, but pitcher, when he threw the ball, had no idea where the ball went on that foul ball. Meantime, it's Asdrubal Cabrera on deck.
Kelly trying to put away Flores, the cleanup hitter tonight for the Mets. Driven to left center field, well struck, but caught on the track by Taylor. Flores gave it a ride, but it's just a long, loud second out. Hey, after we're done here in Washington, you can catch Sports Center at night with John Anderson and Kevin Connors. A wrap-up from the Little League World Series, all the Major League action, 3 NFL preseason games, further breakdown of Mayweather, McGregor, and everything else you need to know. Sports Center at night next on ESPN, also streaming live on the ESPN app. Dusty Baker to the mound. And that's going to be all for Sean Kelly. Joe Blanton will be coming into the game for Washington.
Could be my love, even if the sky is falling down. I know that we'll be safe and sound.
So many Americans struggle with finances. Starting today, State Farm is here to help, giving us all the chance to simply sit down and learn. Visit letstarttoday.com or talk to an agent.
We're safe and sound.
Since 1783, Evan Williams has proven one thing, that a good bourbon is a smooth bourbon. Many years and many barrels later, people are still reaching for the smoothness of Evan Williams. Evan Williams, seriously good bourbon.
During our Made to Move 2017 clearance event, you can do endless online research. Or you can take advantage of our best offer ever on an XT5. Don't wait. Our 2017 models will be moving fast. You can drive a car, or you can drive a Cadillac. Come in now before the end of our Made to Move 2017 clearance event and leave with the perfect Cadillac XT5 for your next adventure. Choose a low mileage lease on this XT5 for around $339 per month.
Hey, Dad, come meet the new guy.
The new guy? What new guy?
I hired some help. He really knows his wine.
This is the new guy?
Hello, my name is Watson.
You know wine, huh?
I know that you should check Vineyard Block 12.
Block 12?
My analysis of satellite imagery shows it would benefit from decreased irrigation.
I was wondering about that.
Easy boy. Nice doggy.
What do you think?
Not bad.
Saints Vikings at 6:55. Chargers Broncos at 10:15. September 11th on ESPN.
3 times in the last 5 years, the Washington Nationals have played in a division series, but all 3 times they've come up empty and in painful ways, too, blowing a lead in the 9th inning of Game 5 against the Cardinals back in 2012. 2014, lost to the eventual World Series champion San Francisco Giants. All 3 losses by 1 run, and then last year lost to the Dodgers. Again, all 3 losses by 1 run. Can they get over the hump this year and at least get into an LCS? That is the million-dollar question for fans of the Washington Nationals. They lead this game 4-3, and Joe Blanton is into the game. He pitched in the day game today in the first game of the doubleheader, gave up a home run to Ahmed Rosario, took the loss. He's back here in the nightcap, facing the pinch hitter Asdrubal Cabrera.
And earlier today, Asdrubal Cabrera also hit a shot in the first inning, a 3-run homer. So Joe Blanton right now, Joe B trying to get it done. 42 games. See that whoop? It's pretty high.
Got a breaking ball up, but it's fouled out of play off to the left.
Eduardo, you were talking about how you think that it's possible Cabrera be traded before August 31st. My question is, the Mets, with so many unanswered questions about their infield, would it be better just to keep him for another year at $8.5 million?
That's a question, and you ask a lot of the Met front office people and also inside in the clubhouse, and they have a feeling that he's going to go. It looks like there's a lot of calls that are being made for Cabrera. He's shown the ability to play third base, second base, and fill in at shortstop also. Down the stretch, important key back.
I just think with everything going on with David Wright and the fact that while David Wright is trying to work his way back, they have to build safety nets in. He's a great safety net because of that versatility for next year.
David Wright actually playing games the last few days down in Florida in St. Lucie, trying to come back from so many injuries, back, neck, shoulder. Hasn't appeared in the big leagues for the Mets since May of 2016, but maybe a chance they get him back a little bit in September of this year to see if he can resume his career. Fly ball to center field. And that's the inning. 4-3 Washington as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
Football is back. Saints Vikings at 6:55. Chargers Broncos at 10:15. September 11th.
You think it's just 5 guys between you and that rim? Try 500. Because for every guy you beat, there's 100 more out there with your same 5, working on your same moves, all trying to steal your glory. So if you want to be the one and only, and not just one of many, give that extra ounce. It might just be the one that all the others don't. Gatorade. Rehydrate.
You always pay your insurance on time. Tap one little bumper and up go your rates. What good is having insurance if you get punished for using it?
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Touching hands, reaching out. Touching me, touching you, sweet Caroline. Good times never seem so good. So good! So good!
Make your commute a little sweeter in the newly redesigned Hyundai Sonata, our best Sonata ever.
The U.S. Open begins tomorrow on the networks of ESPN.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Mets and Nationals here on Sunday Night Baseball. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning in Washington with a 4-3 lead after the Mets took the day game of the doubleheader by a score of 6-5. Tanner Roark had a strong outing. Struck out 9 through 6 innings, was cruising through 5 before the Mets got to him for 3 in the top of the 6th. But then the Nationals came right back with 2 in the bottom half to reclaim the lead. And they're still holding it right now as they come up at the bottom of the 8th inning. The new pitcher for the Mets is right-hander Eric Goodell. And Daniel Murphy leads it off for Washington. 27th appearance of the year for Goodell. 5th pitcher of the night for the Mets.
Daniel Murphy, who's struggled the last couple weeks. We talked about it earlier, but having really good at-bats tonight. He's just got the one base hit, a big one to show for it, but he lined out his last at-bat and has grinded down, especially when he gets behind the count. Right now he's ahead, but showing what we've seen all season of a guy that always in the conversation and one of the best players in the National League.
Nationals 26 games over 500, 77 and 51. And something that's different this year, you know, the All-Star game doesn't determine home field in the World Series anymore. Now it's when the two teams get to the World Series, who's ever got the better record, they get home field. Now, if you're Dusty Baker, you just want to get guys healthy. You want to get guys ready. But let's say Washington makes the World Series. If they have a better record than whoever they're playing, Houston, Boston, Cleveland, whatever, that determines home field in the World Series. So you wonder if managers may, you know, push things a little bit more in September, even if they've clinched, whatever, to try to get a couple of extra wins just in case that determines home field in the World Series. Or is that overthinking things, Stu?
I don't think Dusty Baker's in a position to do that. I think he has to get his players ready, especially with all the injuries that they've had, and he should not, I think, because of the position he's in, to try to push them for that. Of course he's going to try to win every game, but you look at the bullpen that you need to be healthy down the stretch. You have a lot of players that need to be healthy. They need to be ready with their timing also down the stretch. I think that takes priority over everything else.
I think it's a conversation, though, in a month. You know, when we're looking at it, it's just like games back, and right now it's a difference, I think, of one. Them and the Astros, I think they have one more win than the Astros. So I think if it's that, you have everybody healthy, and it's a matter of, do we just let the season go because we know we have the division, or let's win that extra game to secure home field advantage for the World Series. But right now, I think you, Eddie, it's about getting guys back out on the field and healthy.
So maybe about, unless of course Dodgers, then you're just you're just getting ready for October. You got 91 wins already. You got Kershaw coming back Friday. Darvish came off the DL today.
Yeah, if you're the Dodgers,
coming back.
Yep.
It's one goal. You got to win the whole thing.
And as expected, Sean Doolittle now up in the pen for Washington. And he's just going by.
How do you know how many O's do you know?
You think he knows?
8 O's?
If we asked him, do you think he would know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure he counted them.
Rendon with a two-hopper to short. 2 down.
I promise you, nothing that Sean Doolittle does is without a plan. A smart guy.
Don't look. You're looking.
Come on, Jeff. Hold the shot. Oh, 8. I have 8.
Yeah, now you guys do. It's been fun to see, though. All the nicknames. Like I said, I think next year, I hope they bring it back. I think we'll see even more. A little more creativity, too.
Same amount of letters as Doolittle.
Look at
Keep
you
the
over
weight
here.
distribution, see?
So it looks the same?
Yeah, keep the weight distribution.
Mentally, you feel like it's
so he's
okay, nothing
balanced
different.
throughout. He's always pitched with all those letters on there.
Such a pitcher. It's such a pitcher.
Such a lefty.
Adam Lynn hits one well to the opposite field. Gonna carry, gonna go!
We talked earlier about how important Lynn has been to the Washington Nationals and how important is this run to the Washington Nationals. You ask Joe Madden, the manager for the Chicago Cubs, and he'll tell you that right there is a jug run. Going right after from a 4-3 to a 3 lead. Pitch, hanging curveball on the outside part of the plate. Doesn't try to do so much with it. Knows he can go deep the other way. Stays behind it. Head right on the ball. Good old style thumping right there.
And this didn't have the exit velocity that we're used to seeing, 110, 112. It was 98 miles an hour off the bat, and that's what you do with a hanging breaking ball.
You know what that was? Intriguing. I had to get that word in.
See, when you get a word in, though, you're not supposed to announce it to everybody.
I did. I'm proud.
He's patting himself on the back right now.
Oh, somebody pulling strings that I don't know about here. What's going on behind the scenes here?
It was a joke.
I bet you I know who it is.
It's just an intriguing thought.
Yeah. 0-2 the count on Michael Taylor. So an insurance run for the Nationals here in the bottom of the 8th. Now a 2-run cushion for Sean Doolittle. And Taylor chases. That'll end the inning. Sean Doolittle coming on to try to lock it up for Washington in the 9th. He's now got the benefit of a 2-run lead after Adam Lynn goes the other way for his 11th home run of the season to make it 5-3.
That's former All-Pro linebacker Clay Matthews Jr., also known as Dad. We Matthews know a thing or two about football. With PlayStation Vue, they can watch live football on up to 5 devices at the same time.
Nice. Nice.
Nice. Nice!
Nice.
Great.
Stay connected with football all season long, no matter where you are.
Watch live football with PlayStation Vue. Start your free trial today.
PlayStation.
When kids are coming into my classroom, they know that Mr. Jackson is the rapping teacher. We call it the remainder. That's the that remains. Technology is a huge piece of education. Using the pen for the first time on the Windows 10 PC is great. I'm able to highlight different rhyme schemes. I can actually see my lines when I'm shading in. I can change the weight, drawing directly on my screen. I couldn't do this on my Mac. I can definitely see the future happening. I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit.
Allergy sufferers, a word to the wise. If symptoms at night ruin your next day, try new Zysol. It relieves symptoms while you sleep and keeps relieving all day. Because Zysol's as effective at hour 24 as at hour 1. So, be Wisol. Take new Zysol.
Hey, buddy. Looking good. You know what we gotta do, right? Let's go. Come on.
Not.
You're a good driver.
But that's not.
Get in the car.
No.
I don't think I should do this.
Just get in the car!
No.
Things are about to get real. New Kingswood barbecue sauces. Real ingredients like brown sugar and smoked hickory. Built on 90 years of grilling tradition. Start something real. New Kingswood sauces.
Look what you just made me do.
This actually may be my wife's shorts, to be honest with you. Now, I tell you what, she ain't gonna want them back after today. Laughter brings people closer together. Fitness, health, understanding brings people closer together. Making people live, love, and laugh is what I represent.
Tonight on SportsCenter, following the broadcast, this week's SC Featured showcases the athletic side of actor-comedian Kevin Hart, who is inspiring his fans to stay fit. You can join John Anderson and Kevin Connors for that and much, much more. Little League World Series, big league action, NFL preseason games, and more coming up on SportsCenter tonight. Changes for the Nationals. Ryan Zimmerman now in the game at first base. And on the mound trying to lock it up, Sean Doolittle with a 2-run lead for the Nats.
We're going to see a lot of that fastball he just brushed back.
It's Travis d'Arnaud. As you look at Doolittle's numbers between Oakland and Washington, Travis d'Arnaud pinch hitting, leading off the 9th.
He's also got a slider and changeup he'll mix in.
They're trying to get that fastball, pull the string on an 85-mile-per-hour changeup.
And now can't catch up to 96.
Keep an eye on the location of Dew with 8 O's. Looking up in the zone. Loves to get guys to chase up. Once in a while, he'll throw an off-speed pitch to keep you honest and then back up in the zone for the swing and miss.
All 4 pitches, this at bat, same exact location, up and in. It was a changeup, 3 fastballs. But one of the things he does well, you can talk about his numbers against lefties because he's left-handed, but he likes to come inside to righties and does a really good job of it.
Lined into left field, a leadoff base hit for d'Arnaud.
One time too many, back to the well. Went with the fastball, this time a little bit lower than the previous. See it right there, d'Arnaud already measured up the speed. Saw it well, big base hit right there to put the tying run at the plate now.
So d'Arnaud aboard to lead off the 9th inning, and here's Kevin Plawecki, who is 1 for 3 on the night. And a little bit high for ball 1. Don't forget the Indians and Yankees on ESPN tomorrow night. Great pitching matchup. Corey Kluber and Luis Severino. Popped up into shallow center field. The shortstop, Defoe, back to make the catch, 1 down. Sports Center coming up next year on ESPN tonight. Sean Doolittle and the Nationals 2 outs away from a victory, trying to split the doubleheader today and pick up their 78th win of the season. The batter is Gavin Cecchini, who is 0 for 3 tonight. He has 1 big league home run to his credit, and it came off Clayton Kershaw. Base hit into left field. Up to second, d'Arnaud.
We'll talk about being aggressive and in the zone. This time down in the zone, Doolittle, 96 miles per hour. Cecchini gets that base hit as Rendon was playing a couple steps next to the line. No chance for him to get this one as it goes in the 5-6 hole.
So the tying run now at first. The go-ahead run at the plate with a 1 out here in the top of the 9th inning, and the batter is Matt Reynolds. And he'll take a strike. Reynolds' 3rd at bat of the night. He's 1 for 2.
Now the outfield playing a little deeper. Rendon also down the line, protecting the no doubles situation. They scooted back a couple steps in the outfield. Tying run face.
0-2.
That's the one thing I think I'd like to see Sean Doolittle do a little bit more as he kind of figures out his role within the bullpen in the closer role, is utilizing that changeup just a little bit more.
Well, he can set it up with a hard fastball in.
Hit in the air to right field. And coming in to make the catch is Stevenson, who broke back on the swing of the bat and then came in to make the play for the 2nd out.
I'm out.
So they're an out away.
And this is where Doolittle has to be able to execute the fastball up in the zone. Jose Reyes can handle any pitch down in the zone. He can show power with it also. Up in the zone, he has a tendency to chase. And that's, if you're going to get the swing and miss and soft contact, it has to be up.
This is SportsCenter.